believes Missouri's food supply will become safer.
I'm Scott Jagow. Violence against ICE officers is on the rise. A Missouri U.S. senator is looking to raise the penalty.
The Trump administration removes 2,000 National Guard troops deployed to Los Angeles.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Sunshine and some clouds. Very hot and humid today with a thunderstorm in the area this afternoon, the high 95.
I'm Joe Pott. Brendan Donovan had a pair of hits, and the National League wins the All-Star game in a swing-off. I've got those details coming up in sports.
The House Speaker says the Justice Department should release all of its information on Jeffrey Epstein.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. A powerful Republican voice joins a growing GOP chorus urging the Justice Department to release the Jeffrey Epstein files. House Speaker Mike Johnson on the Benny Johnson Show podcast.
The White House and the White House team are privy to facts that I don't know. I mean, this isn't my lane. I haven't been involved in that. But I agree with the sentiment that we need to put it out there.
Attorney General Pam Bondi insists there's no client list or damning evidence tying the rich and powerful to the late pedophile. President Trump backs her up.
I don't understand it. Why they would be so interested. He's dead for a long time. He was never a big factor in terms of life. I don't understand what the interest or what the fascination is.
A 22-year-old suspect's been arrested in the murders of American Idol executive Robin Kay and her husband Thomas DeLuca at their home in Los Angeles. LAPD Lieutenant Guy Golan.
On surveillance video, homicide investigators discovered that the suspect had managed to scale over one of the fences, gain access to the residence, and he entered and unlocked or unsecured door of the residence.
Police say the suspect shot the couple during a struggle. The Pentagon has ordered 2,000 National Guard troops sent to L.A. to keep an eye on immigration raid protests to go home.
Mayor Karen Bass said the drawdown is a sign that legally the city of Los Angeles is making progress against what she and others call unconstitutional actions by ICE and DHS.
2,000 troops are being withdrawn. We don't exactly know where they're going. I certainly hope that these young people will not be used as props in some other city.
Hints from Washington that ICE and DHS agents now have the authority to arrest demonstrators who directly attack them could be a sign that a further scale back of troops is possible. Pete Demetrio for CBS News, Los Angeles.
An Israeli-backed American aid group says 20 Palestinians were killed today in the crush of a crowd at a food distribution site. The BBC's Yolanda Nell reports from Jerusalem.
Most of those killed apparently trampled to death. 19 of them, the GHF said. Another has been stabbed. And it is blaming what it calls agitators among the crowd and saying it has credible reason to believe that these were affiliated with Hamas. Says many of them were armed.
A 54-chunk hunk of meteor will be auctioned off in New York today. Sotheby's Cassandra Hatton.
This Martian meteorite is the largest piece of Mars we have ever found by a long shot.
It's expected to bring in as much as $4 million. Dow futures are up 8, Nas futures off 50. This is CBS News.
Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
At 6:03, it's mostly clear in 72 downtown at the Gateway Arch. Good morning, I'm Scott Jagow.
And I'm Debbie Monterrey. The news is sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. Governor Mike Kehoe and USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins cut the ribbon on a new state-of-the-art food safety and inspection service lab in Normandy.
Governor Kehoe says the USDA facility on Natural Bridge is only one of 3 in the country.
What the USDA does for food safety and to keep millions and millions of Americans safe in the food they consume every day, this team should be very proud of. You are making a difference in people's lives and the quality of their life and the food that they eat at the dining room table.
This facility used to be the old Goodfellow ammunition plant on the campus there, and Kehoe says with this expansion, it's like having a brand new job, especially for the many workers who have been there for 40 plus years. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt is introducing a bill to double the punishment for assaulting an officer.
Senator Schmidt was asked about concerns that steeper penalties don't deter crime.
Well, we're going to find out.
because you've seen a 700% increase on the assaults of ICE officers.
Schmidt says under his bill, the maximum punishment for assaulting an ICE officer is 40 years in prison. He also called out Democrats for not just denouncing crime against ICE officers, but for not saying they should be allowed to do their jobs. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
It's a vending machine that dispenses Narcan, the medication that reverses opioid drug overdoses. St. Louis County now has 44 locations of this vending machine. County Executive Sam Page unveiled one of them at the Pagedale Cinema. As for funding this kind of project, Page tells KMOX it comes from the opioid settlement money.
This particular program today is provided by a grant, a partnership with University of Missouri St. Louis, but we have other sources for this.
So no chance it'll run out on the road. All right.
I don't expect that we will run out, but it is within the realm of possibility that on any given moment, a vending machine might be empty before it's restocked.
In addition to the 44 Narcan locations with dispensers, you can also get the life-saving drug through the St. Louis County Health Department.
Now a KMOX follow-up on what turned out to be the busiest day in modern Lambert Airport history.
The TSA says it screened a record 25,913 passengers at STL on Sunday. That's the busiest day here since TSA began screening after 9/11. TSA spokesman Carter Langston tells KMOX they had
a full TSA complement of staff, as well as every lane was open. So it was a busy day for sure.
Busy to say the least, with huge lines and some missing flights.
All the airlines probably did have this issue. The TSA probably was having a grand time trying to process that.
Airline consultant Mike Boyd of Boyd Group International, he says surges like the thousands of conventioneers who showed up all at once is just a fluke that sometimes happens.
This kind of thing, you got to look back and say, I'm sorry it happened, but there's nothing Lambert could do about it, and thank you for having your conference here in St. Louis.
That said, he thinks the new terminal's plan for a big security checkpoint that leads to all airlines will be more efficient. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Neighbors came out to oppose plans for a big new data center between Highway 370 and Elm Point Road in St. Charles. The warehouse-looking buildings would be raised on concrete pads above flood stage. Tim Klein owns a farm downstream and says creeks near there are already full.
They can't handle any more water. It's already blew our levee out, our small levee. You know, we're just common folks. We can't afford to build 23-foot levees around our farm.
He's got two concerns: chemicals from the cooling operation getting into St. Charles groundwater and flash flooding after what happened in Texas. St. Charles Planning and Zoning Commissioners split on the project, so it'll need a supermajority approval from the city council. No word on which tech company would operate that data center.
Tonka and I just found each other, and Tonka loved me as much as I love Tonka.
The Festus woman at the center of that HBO show, Chimp Crazy, is scheduled to be sentenced today. 55-year-old Tanya Haddox pleaded guilty in St. Louis to perjury, also obstruction of justice. That was back in March. The original suit was filed by PETA in 2016 over the way she cared for the chimps, including Tonka, at her Festus facility. That place is now shut down. Haddox facing years in prison and possibly hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines.
Did you happen to watch Chimp Crazy?
I did not.
It's interesting. Can't look away.
I saw the other one with Joe, whatever his name was.
Oh yeah, the tiger.
Yeah. I didn't see that one though.
Yeah, it's definitely worth watching. But from chimps to dogs, if you love dogs, head to the St. Louis Aquarium.
This is Stuart McMillan. I was at Union Station hanging out with Motown, a 5-year-old Australian Shepherd obsessed with his Frisbee. Dad Martin, Purina's senior dog trainer, says normally the dogs perform at Purina Farm, but haven't been able to since it was damaged during the May 16th tornado.
There's 30 plus dogs on our dog team. We have trick dogs, scent work dogs, disc dogs, freestyle disc dogs.
The rest of July, all of August, and most of September, the Purina Incredible Dog Team performing at Union Station Thursdays through Sundays.
The U.S. Senate race in Illinois is heating up. We'll get some details on that coming up after traffic and weather together. It's 6:09, and this is Total Information AM.
I'm fixing to tell you something that the insurance industry does not want you to ever hear. Bullies often delay and deny. I see them sitting on premiums paid and making money and dragging it out for as long as they can. Many times, we're forced to take them to court. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Their high-paid lobbyists are on a mission to make sure that at trial, jurors are not allowed to learn that the at-fault party has insurance, and in some cases, lots of it. I can think of no case in all my years where there was no insurance for the at-fault party. So let's fight back. It's all these bullies understand. Tell everybody you know the truth. If you've been injured in a car crash or hurt at a store or business, visit forthepeople.com. We're here 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Hey, let's get you caught up on traffic and weather here on Total Information AM at 6:11. And here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we look great out there right now, Debbie. It's an easygoing Wednesday morning for you so far. We had earlier road work. It always gets picked up before 6. It did, so no delays right now. Southbound 61 Highway P down to Wentzville Parkway. And once you hit 64 or 70, you're in good shape, wide open all the way across the Missouri River bridges. Again, just a heads up for later, for keep it in mind for tomorrow. If you normally commute westbound 64 out into the valley and you get off at Boone's Crossing, that ramp's scheduled to be shut down tomorrow. Westbound 64, the Boone's Crossing exit closed starting at 4 a.m. till about 3 p.m. for road work during the midday. And road work not causing delays right now, 55 at McNutt, north of Bayless, westbound 5570 at 159 where it's shut down. Everything's still running smoothly for you so far. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sunshine mixing with clouds today, becoming very hot and humid. Watch out for a thunderstorm during the midday or afternoon hours. Our high reaching 95 with AccuWeather real field temperatures headed past 100. Partly cloudy, warm and sticky tonight. There can be a thunderstorm in the area, low 75. For tomorrow, more clouds and sun and not as hot, but still humid. With the thunderstorm in the afternoon that can produce gusty winds and brief downpours, the high 86. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Thank you, Joe. Right now it's 73 in St. Peter, 74 in Florissant. We have 73 downtown at the Gateway Arch, and the weather is sponsored by Fairmount Park Casino and Racing. Sign up for a Fairmount Park Casino and Racing players card in the casino today. Win up to $100,000. Get access to comps, free slot play, gift giveaways, promotional offers. It won't last long. This offer must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It was a fun night at the All-Star Game for baseball last night, and I'll tell you all about that straight ahead in sports.
It is 6:13. Senator Josh Hawley introducing new legislation aimed at investing in rural hospitals and preventing future cuts to Medicaid hospital funding. His Protect Medicaid and Rural Hospitals Act builds on provisions he secured recently enacted in the so-called Big Beautiful Bill, which created a rural hospital fund for the first time. However, that bill also scheduled future reductions in states' provider tax authority, which Hawley's new legislation seeks to repeal.
The race for U.S. Senate in Illinois is heating up. More from WBBM's Mallory Vorbroker.
There are 3 Democrats vying for the chance to replace U.S. Senator Dick Durbin. The latest campaign finance reports show Congresswoman Robin Kelly with more than $2 million in her war chest. Suburban Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy has the most money so far and is out with a new ad.
As your senator, I'll take on the biggest bully of them all.
Illinois Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton was endorsed by Illinois House Speaker Chris Welch this week and has the backing of Governor Pritzker. The GOP race is still taking shape with 8 months to go before the U.S. Senate primary election.
The Holiday Inn by the Convention Center is no longer a Holiday Inn. The 293-room hotel on 9th Street has been rebranded as the Arch Convention Hotel. No reason was given for the change. The Business Journal reports that owner Vidhi 8 and Rajesh Patel did not return phone calls. Occupancy for the hotel has increased more than 11% from this time a year ago, with Explore St. Louis attributing increased convention, sports, and concert activity at the Dome. The hotel was a Ramada Inn until it reopened as a Holiday Inn in 2015.
An acquisition for the St. Louis-based Emprise Group that owns GermX hand sanitizer. They explained their hygiene product portfolio with New York-based Nice Pack, which makes baby and facial wipes, among other products. The purchase price wasn't disclosed, according to the Business Journal. Emprise, which formed in 2023 when Vijon reorganized, employed more than 1,200 as of late last year. Nice Pack employs more than 1,500 in U.S. and Europe.
It is 6:15 and time for sports.
Well, the National League was victorious last night at the 95th MLB All-Star Game, and it came in historic fashion. It looked like it might be a walk for the NL, and it turned into anything but. Arizona's Ketel Marte ripped a 2-run double to right in the first inning, and that got the things going for the National League. They were off to a 2-0 lead. In the bottom of the sixth, a Fernando Tatis walk brought up the Cardinals' Brendan Donovan. He had already singled in the game. This time he lines a single into center field. And take a listen to MLB on Fox. Broadcasters Joe Davis and John Smoltz were talking to the managers as Donovan hit.
Guys, thanks for having us on. That's a good piece of hitting right there.
All right, guys, travel safe back. Good luck in the second half to both of you.
All right, guys. Thanks,
guys. Base hit for Brendan Donovan, who is 2 for 2 in the 3 spot in this National League lineup.
Did you catch Dave Roberts there? That's a good piece of hitting he had to say about Donovan's hit in real time. Donovan's hit made it 2-on for Pete Alonso.
Inside and a ball on Pete Alonso. Lined out his first time. Always had the home runs, but he's hitting 280 this year. And he's showing off that home run power here. It is gone. Pete Alonso goes the other way. A 3-run shot to break it open. Right field is where you get the most carry here in this stadium. And not a big 3-run homer. 247 in his career. And his first in the All-Star game. 5-0 for the National League.
Thought Alonso might have MVP honors coming his way. The National League went up 6-0. The AL staged a comeback, scored 4 in the 7th, and then twice in the 9th to tie the game at 6. Brendan Donovan came up in the bottom of the 9th with 2 outs, but tapped the ball out in front of the plate. It was 6-6 after 9. Each team then chose 3 hitters for a mini home run derby, the first ever All-Star swing-off. And the NL trailed 3-1 when Kyle Schwarber came up from the Phillies.
In the air to center field, headed towards the wall, and dead center. That's huge for the National League. They're within 1.
Here is number 2 for Schwarber.
Oh! Schwarber's in the All-Star game. Oh! Tied at 3.
That's MVP material if he gets the 3rd one right here.
Here's number 3.
AL rallied in the game. NL has rallied in the swing. With the hat trick. Look out, Chop House. National League takes the lead 4-3.
Unbelievable.
They would win it 4-3. National League manager Dave Roberts of the Dodgers managed his 4th All-Star team. Finally got a win.
We finally beat these guys. They seem to have our number over the last decade.
Inside Pitch is sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center, your national leaders in cancer. Your next sports update comes up at 6:45. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hi, it's Margaret from Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano. Life is change. An election, an illness, a death. And questions. What about my family? My retirement, my estate. Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano stand ready to help you plan for your life changes and protect what matters to you. They have listened, planned, and executed thousands of estate plans, taxes, and legal documents for over 30 years, right here in St. Louis. Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano make it easy to get started. Go to their website, yourestatemasters.com, and request their free webinar. It focuses on simple legal strategies and their process. Then schedule your free personal consultation. Life is change. Plan now. Your estate matters because you matter. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, yourestatemasters.com. Choice of an attorney is an important decision that should not be based solely on advertising.
At 5, when others are running out of steam, the Redbird Rush Hour hits the gas. Kevin Wheeler, Matt Pauley, and Bernie Miklasz bring sharp analysis, fresh insight, and no recycled takes. Real baseball talk for fans who know the game. Redbird Rush Hour, weekdays at 5 on 104.1 FM KMOX, the voice of St. Louis, the unrivaled voice of baseball. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman, Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:20. Let's check on the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
No, things still look great out there so far this morning, Scott. I'm not really seeing any problems or delays, just save one on the highways, and that's a little slowdown now, northbound 55. From about River to Pear up through the Holly Hills, Virginia area. I've been seeing some slowdowns the last few days there. And there's also a little volume on southbound 61 now, Wentzville Parkway down to 64. So there's a couple of slowdowns, 44 eastbound at Murdoch and westbound 64 at Kings Highway. They were just picking up debris. It looks like that's all gone. I don't see any delays there. They were just out in the lanes briefly dealing with that. And there's a stall reported northbound 270 near Olive, but yeah, it looks like that's on the shoulder as well. I don't see any issues coming through there. Still okay around the metro area through all the construction zones. Everything looks like we're light on the go for you so far as well. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's never too early to start thinking about your retirement journey, and it's never too late either. You just need to know that the steps may look a little different. Listen to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg, Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
You may see some patchy fog out the window, depending on where you are. Otherwise, sunshine mixing with clouds today. It's going to be very hot and humid. We could see a thunderstorm pop up here or there. But the temperature, 95 degrees. It's going to feel as hot as 105. Tomorrow, hot and humid too, but 10 degrees cooler. So it'll be 86 degrees tomorrow with a chance of some strong thunderstorms. Right now, it's 73 and sunny in downtown St. Louis.
The news continues at 6:22. President Trump says he plans to place tariffs of over 10% on smaller nations. That includes those in Africa and the Caribbean. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, the Pentagon is ending the deployment of 2,000 National Guard troops. It's part of a larger force sent to protect federal buildings and immigration agents. This comes as a new report states the Supreme Court is allowing Trump to lay off nearly 1,400 education department employees.
Also in Los Angeles, an American Idol music supervisor and her husband have been found dead in their home, with a suspect arrested. This comes as a Colorado dentist accused of killing his wife by poisoning her protein shakes is beginning his murder trial this week. Meanwhile, heavy rains and flash flooding have swept across parts of the Northeast, stranding vehicles and closing subway lines, with one New Jersey home collapsing after a fire.
Governor Kehoe cuts the ribbon on a new state-of-the-art food and safety inspection service in Normandy. This lab was once housed on the campus of the Goodfellow ammunition plant.
USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins said Missouri's Agriculture Director Chris Chin joined the governor. Chin says Rollins found one-time funding of $14.5 million.
The funding is going to allow us to open up more state-inspected facilities. We're going to bring on 4 new employees. That was our roadblock before. We didn't have enough team members to help support these businesses coming online. So we have 6 businesses that are waiting for us to get those new employees up and going so they can open their doors to state inspection.
Governor Kehoe says Missouri saw the first large-scale processor in Warren County.
They're up and running. They'll be at full scale, I think, by September. Those are the kind of examples. If we as a state want to open up processing, we need to be able to have a partnership with USDA and with the great Department of Agriculture to make sure we have the inspectors to open up, whether it's a large-scale processor like AFG or whether it's a small-scale processor that's important to the community and to the family farms in that area.
Kehoe says he believes Missouri will have the capacity to make sure food is safe. Now, Secretary Brooke Rollins says last week the USDA launched the Farm Security his national security initiative.
The first time that agriculture has been part of the conversation in terms of keeping our country safe. I had 4 cabinet members, including myself, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, Attorney General Pam Bondi, Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem. We had several of our country's governors there, several from the Hill. And the idea is that at the end of the day, if China owns 300,000 acres of your farmland in your country around strategic military bases, one of many examples, but that was the key one, that in fact, are you really protecting your homeland, and what in fact we need to do to begin. And again, this is not blue or red, Republican or Democrat. This is what we need to do to secure our homeland. So the foreign adversaries that own farmland in America, agro-terrorism we're seeing, and Attorney General Bondi, I think, arrested a couple people a few weeks ago in Michigan, sneaking in some very scary things that could have really disrupted our food supply, but we got them we fired 70 contractors, USDA contractors that are from countries of foreign adversaries. It's one thing after another. Agriculture has never been on the CFIUS committee, which is the Treasury Agency committee at the U.S. government. The Secretary of Treasury runs it, but they decide when foreign governments come in what to approve and what not to approve and how transparent to be. But as of last week now, agriculture and the Secretary of Agriculture here forward will be part of those conversations. The question of foreign-owned ag assets and foreign-owned ag land is a serious, serious question. It is not one that we will answer today or next week in a month, but it is one that we as Americans and with President Trump in the White House that we are taking a very serious look at. Having said that, understanding that the pork farmers, the hog farmers, the beef cattle ranchers, all of the above, that if we don't have a strong farm system in America, if we're not able to support agriculture, our family farms, all the way up to those who feed the world, that again, we will not have national security. If we can't feed ourselves, we will lose our place in the world as the superpower, not a superpower, but the superpower. So we are looking across, last week was the first step. You'll be seeing more from the White House, more from the Hill, and more from the governors on that moving forward.
Maria Aquina, KMLX News.
What's the latest thinking on how artificial intelligence may impact the labor market and potentially your job? Executives from firms like Ford, Amazon, and Anthropic are now warning that AI could eliminate up to half of all white-collar jobs in the next 5 years. There are things that workers and job seekers can do to stay ahead of these changes. First, upskill strategically. One way to stay ahead is through micro-credentials and online courses. Platforms like Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, and edX offer short, targeted programs in data analysis, basic AI literacy, and more. They're designed to help professionals reskill quickly without committing to full degrees. Soft skills will become more critical as well. Job seekers should pair technical learning with human skills, such as creativity, communication, and resilience. Candidates and employees who position themselves as AI savvy with strong soft skills should be well positioned to thrive in this evolving workplace. With your next job, I'm Stephen Greenberg.
It is now 6:27. That time check sponsored for you by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
This is Tom Ackerman. It's All-Star Week, and Budweiser will be very present in everything happening with Major League Baseball this week. Budweiser is the official beer sponsor of Major League Baseball, the king of beers. At the crack of a bat, crack open a Bud. There are 4 members of Team Bud. Ken Griffey Jr., one of the greatest players in the history of the game. Lars Nootbaar, Cardinals outfielder, is on Team Bud, along with Corey Seager and Kyle Tucker. Budweiser is also a proud partner and has been for the last 15 years with Folds of Honor. Folds of Honor is a great organization. Folds of Honor is proud as well, and an organization rooted in supporting military families in need has partnered with Budweiser. Service never stops, and neither will Folds of Honor or Budweiser. This year, proceeds from every 12-pack of Budweiser and Bud Zero sold go directly to Folds of Honor. This Bud's for you.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
If you're still waiting for a sign, here's another one. At California Psychics, we reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work for us. So we only connect you with the best. That's how we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. Dramatic sound effect incoming. Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
The trip of the summer is coming. Collective Soul. Live.
Summer Unity Tour 2025. July 17th, Hollywood Casino Amphitheater with Our Lady Peace. Special guest, Graylin James Rue. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Collective Soul, live, Our Lady Peace, together.
At 6:30, it's mostly clear and 73 degrees downtown at the Gateway Arch. Good morning. I'm Scott Jagow.
I'm Debbie Monterrey, and here's Roger Brandon, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, so a few more folks getting out on the highways, Debbie, as you head out the door and getting going this morning. There's just a little bit of a delay northbound 67 at Double C. The right lane's at northbound 55, just a little slow north of Butler Hill. We are slowed down most of the way from the Union Road overpass up through Virginia on northbound 55 now as well. Eastbound 30, just a little slower pace up the hill from Mauer Industrial to 270. Southbound 61, we did have some slow stuff at Wentzville Parkway. That's cleared out for now, and eastbound 64 and 70 look great. From that split in Wentzville across the Missouri River bridges downtown. We're still good to go. Westbound 64 across the Poplar 70, the Muswell Veterans Bridge. Everything looks good and everything fine through the restrictions. The closure of westbound 5570 at 159. The alternate route, of course, is westbound 270 to southbound 255. And again, everything remains light on the move for you on that run as well. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We have a one-day heat wave in store for us. It's going to be hot today. Right around 95, but feeling more like 105. And then it's going to cool off again a little bit. 75 overnight, only 86 tomorrow for mid-July. Not too bad. Chance of a thunderstorm between now and then. And then Friday, 87, 90 on Saturday, and 93 again on Sunday with chance of storms. Right now, 73 in St. Peter's. We've got 75 in Florissant and 73 downtown at the Gateway Arch.
A key witness in a rape trial shot and killed after refusing a bribe to stay quiet.
The man who was killed, Corey Warren, had reported the sexual assault of a 15-year-old girl to police. The man charged with statutory sodomy and rape as a result was 39-year-old LeVar Harmon. He'd allegedly seen the girl at a bus stop, gave her his phone number, and later took her shopping before engaging in sexual activity. Harmon's sister, 44-year-old LaVonda Harmon of Houston, Texas, allegedly went to Warren's home in Ferguson along with another man and offered Warren money to take back his story. He didn't take the money. 6 weeks later, Warren was killed while at home. LaVonda Harmon is charged with tampering with a witness. The shooter has not been identified. Beth Coughlin, KMOX News.
Former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan is supposed to report to prison in the fall, but his attorneys are asking if he can stay free while they appeal his corruption conviction. We get more from WBBM's Nancy Hardy.
In a 21-page filing, attorneys argue to a federal judge Madigan could get a new trial because of what they call complex issues with jury instructions. In February, a jury convicted the former top Democrat of bribery and conspiracy, but acquitted him of 4 other counts in a scheme that saw ComEd pay allies of the then speaker more than $1 million in exchange for favorable treatment. The now 83-year-old Madigan is supposed to begin serving a 7.5-year sentence in October.
It is 6:33. Stick around. We've got your money report coming up and an update on those Zyn nicotine pouches that all the teens seem to be using these days. That's all on the way on Total Information AM.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Schedule your free inspection today. Just dial pound 250 on your phone and say the keyword Windows. That's pound 250 keyword Windows, or head to rbastl.com.
How many of you think taxes are going to go up in the future? And if they do, who will be hit the hardest? Maybe it's you, headed for retirement. You've been saving in that 401k or IRA, and that money has never been taxed. And Uncle Sam is looking at that account like it's a big, juicy steak. What can you do about it? Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement Seminar, Tuesday, August 26th or Thursday, August 28th at Fleming's. They believe a financial plan is not a retirement plan without a tax plan. Fund your retirement, not Uncle Sam's. Reserve your spot today by calling 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
It is 6:35, and your Bloomberg Money Report is sponsored by Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, elder law attorneys.
Good morning. The latest data from Intercontinental Exchange suggests the nation's housing market is close to stalling out. As of last month, home prices were up just 1.3% from June of last year. It was the smallest year-over-year gain in 2 years, and prices in more than half of the top 100 markets were below their peak. Persistently high mortgage rates are still a drag on the market. Nielsen reports 2 milestones that illustrate the diminishing power of broadcast television. Last month, viewers spent more time with streaming services than with broadcast and cable TV combined. That happened for the first time in May, and the gap widened considerably in June. And for the third straight week, the Fox News Channel had more primetime viewers than any of the main broadcast networks. There's been an update to the Billionaire Scorecard. There's a new number 2. Bloomberg's Billionaire Index shows that Oracle's Larry Ellison has overtaken Mark Zuckerberg, and he's now the second richest person in the world with a net worth of more than $251 billion. Elon Musk still leads the list. His net worth tops $357 billion. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
Selling your car online sounds easy. Snap a few pics, list a price, then what? Wait weeks? Haggle with strangers? At Suntrip Ford, we actually make it easy to sell your car. Visit Suntrip Ford Kirkwood or Westport, and our expert appraisers will give you a fast, fair offer on the spot. Or skip the trip and get an instant quote at suntripford.com. No guesswork, no games, just the best price. Visit suntripford.com today. Get more at Suntrip Ford.
Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort, offering small ship experiences with a shore excursion included in every port and programs designed for cultural enrichment. Discover more at Viking.com. That's Viking.com.
Baseball's All-Star Week is underway. Cardinals baseball, it returns Friday night when they take on the D-backs.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:38. This is Total Information AM. Nicotine pouches are exploding in popularity. We get more from KMOX health editor Fred Bottomer.
They can be sort of a lower barrier to entryway for somebody to start using nicotine.
Dr. Pete Vernig is a licensed psychologist and vice president of mental health services at Recovery Centers of America.
I liken it a little bit to vapes. When vapes became really popular, they first appeared, 20 some years ago, there was the same interest that, hey, this is something that people could use to transition from smoking cigarettes that is not without harm, it's not without risk, but less harmful than smoking a cigarette. And the results over the past couple of decades have been mixed. They certainly have helped some people transition away from regular smoking, but they have also, use of nicotine vaporizers has increased among young people, and they're oftentimes seen as sort of a more approachable or more acceptable alternative to smoking. So in addition to helping people to maybe get off of cigarettes, you see people who are introduced to nicotine use and then maybe even transition to smoking later on.
Dr. Vernig goes on to tell Total Information AM about how addictive nicotine is.
So nicotine is a very addictive substance. It's a substance that creates physiological dependence. It is a substance that creates tolerance. And what that means is that a person needs larger amounts to get the same effect.
Dr. Vernig says one of the biggest predictors of a substance use disorder is the age of first use.
People who use drugs or alcohol earlier on in their life are much more likely to develop a problematic relationship with that substance later on in life.
You can listen to the entire interview with Dr. Vernig on our podcast page. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
At 6:40, an update on the roads from Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, a few folks out there, but it's not bad so far, Scott. This traffic report's a service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. If you're heading on northbound 55, it looks good. Down south coming up from A through McNutt. Northbound 67, a little backup at Double C, but once you hit 55, the right lanes are busy north of Butler Hill briefly. There's a little bit of a backup now. Bayless in a couple of spots headed up to Abbott, Virginia. And then you pick up the pace. North 270 is a little slow now. Doherty Ferry up the hill to Manchester. South 270, the right lane's just jockeying for position at the 64 interchange. A little busy there. Southbound 61 looks good. And on to eastbound 64 or 70. Take your pick. They're both fine. Across the Missouri River bridges. Downtown, we still look great. Westbound on 64 across the Poplar, 70 at the Musial Veterans Bridge. 64 in the construction zone around Greenmount's fine. And 5570, that closure at 159. The detour westbound 270 to southbound 255. is still wide open for you as well. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company St. Louis Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we are more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers, an important decision, and should not be based solely on advertising.
6:41, let's check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg, who assures us that today is the brutal day where you can chew through the air and it's really going to be stinking hot today.
It really is. So for the next 3 or 4 days, it's the hottest day by far with a high in the mid-90s and real feels between 100 and 105. The humidity's just, you're right, it's just so thick out there this morning. Sun will mix with clouds, and I do think there'll be a thunderstorm or two in the area during the midday or afternoon hours, but I don't think they're going to do much to quell the heat today. That may change, though, for the next couple of days. Partly cloudy tonight, warm and sticky. Could be a thunderstorm in the area. Most of the night, rain-free, the low 75. Tomorrow, though, more clouds and sun and not as hot. The humidity stays up there, though, and that could be the fuel for a thunderstorm in the afternoon that could produce gusty winds, the high 86. A lot more clouds and sun Friday. Probably the coolest day, where temperatures are going to stay in the 80s anyway, with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm, especially in the afternoon. But then the heat starts to build again over the weekend. With some sunshine, we get back to near 90 on Saturday. Could be a thunderstorm. A thunderstorm in the area Sunday, partly sunny up to 93. And I think the heat's going to stick around next week. 74 right now in St. Peter, 75 in Florissant, clear, and 76 downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
I'm Joe Pott. Just one Cardinal in the All-Star game last night, but he showed out. We'll tell you about that coming up in sports.
It's 6:43. President Trump and Attorney General Pam Bondi under growing pressure from members of both parties to reveal everything from the Jeffrey Epstein case. Even Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, an important Trump ally, says the public should see the files. More from Scott McFarland at the Justice Department.
House Speaker Mike Johnson, a strong Trump ally, is calling for more transparency.
It's a very delicate subject, but we should put everything out there and let the people decide it.
Bondi helped fuel conspiracy theories when asked in February about an Epstein client list.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review.
And while she's tried to clarify she was referring to the Epstein file, Speaker Johnson says she needs to do more.
I don't know that she was specific about a list or whatever, but she needs to come forward and explain that to everybody.
From the KMOX archives, 26 years ago today, John F. Kennedy Jr. and his wife Carolyn and her sister disappeared when their single-engine plane vanished near Martha's Vineyard. Coast Guard Rear Admiral Richard Larrabee spoke with reporters the next day.
We got reports of debris being found on the beach by the state police, and we have since confirmed that some of that debris has come from the aircraft.
56 years ago.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour.
Apollo 11 blasted off from the Kennedy Space Center at 9:32 a.m., 4 days before two of the astronauts aboard became the first men to walk on the moon.
21 years ago today, Martha Stewart sentenced to 5 months in prison and 5 months of home confinement by a federal judge in New York for lying about a stock sale.
I'll be back. I will be back. I hope the months go by quickly. I'm used to all kinds of hard work, as you know, and I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid whatsoever.
Star Wars fans, get your wallets out.
You have learned much, young one. You'll find I'm full of surprises.
The lightsaber Darth Vader used in The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi is hitting the auction block in Los Angeles in September. It's believed to be the only one from the original Star Wars trilogy to ever be put up for sale. The pre-sale estimate is between $1 and $3 million. The lightsaber will head out on a 3-city press tour in August with stops in London, New York, and Beverly Hills.
All too easy.
Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Matt Pauley recaps last night's fun at the All-Star Game.
Not a bad night for Brendan Donovan. Not a bad night for the National League All-Stars as they pick up a victory against the American League yesterday. The National League has not had a ton of success against the AL in recent years, but they pick up the win last night. As far as Donovan goes, he finishes the game 2 for 3, playing a lot of second base in the contest. The way the game is won, the American League scores 2 runs in the 9th inning to tie it 6-6. It was tied after 9 innings. They then went to a swing off. Kyle Schwarber had 3 home runs and 3 swings, and that helps propel the National League to a victory. Now set to return to the regular season. The Cardinals are going to get back at it coming up on Friday night. They will be on the road as they travel to Arizona for a matchup against the Diamondbacks. That's going to be an 8:40 first pitch, meaning our coverage will begin at 7:45. For the St. Louis Cardinals Radio Network, I'm Matt Pauley.
Well, no surprise, Brendan Donovan is our player to bank on, brought to you by Community America Credit Union. Invested in you. Donovan could have been the hero. His third at bat came in the bottom of the 9th inning last night with 2 outs and nobody on. He ended up tapping a ball out in front. It was ruled fair, and he was tagged out by AL catcher Alejandro Kirk of the Blue Jays. That forced the swing off, the first in the All-Star game. Donovan was the only player last night to finish with a multi-hit game. The win for the National League, only the second since 2012. They won 3 straight, 2010 through 2012, and they also won in 2023. Well, as Matt told you, the regular season resumes Friday. The Cards open with 6 on the road at Arizona and Colorado before they finish the month with 7 at home against the Padres and the Marlins. They're 6.5 out of the National League Central Division. Brad Thompson, Cards TV analyst, joined the Graybar Sports Open line last night, talked about what the Cards might be thinking at the deadline.
You can't go out there and these guys are in the thick of things. They're playing their butts off. And then you go ahead and say, yeah, but we're rebuilding. What you did doesn't matter. Well, that is a blow, right? And that is something that hangs with guys. And then you have that bad taste in your mouth about it, even though your said goal was the future. That doesn't mean you go out there and you acquire the best ace out there, or you go out and get the biggest right-handed bat on the market, which we all know the Cardinals can use some more right-handed thumb. Doesn't mean that. Doesn't mean you're sacrificing your future for it, but maybe you can find different ways to tweak the roster. But this is going to be the most interesting trade deadline in a long time, and I promise you I didn't think that coming in this year that was going to be the case.
You can hear that entire conversation at KMOX.com. Our next sports update is 7:15. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Tom Ackerman here. Enjoy your outdoor space this summer with fresh landscaping, maybe even a vegetable garden. St. Louis Composting. You can order online for delivery or pick up premium soil, compost, and mulch at any of their 9 locations in the St. Louis area. St. Louis Composting. They transform organic yard waste, branches, leaves, grass clippings, and more into premium compost through a 6-month static composting process. They are the largest and most trusted compost provider in the St. Louis area. St. Louis Composting is committed to producing only the best. All of their products are STA certified, and they proudly offer compost for organic gardening and farming. Whether you're looking for bulk compost or just a few bags, St. Louis Composting. Order online for convenient delivery. That's what we did. Or you can go to one of their 9 area locations. You can find it all at stlcompost.com. This Simon Cancer Center spotlight how innovative immunotherapy is showing promise against aggressive T-cell cancers. Dr. John DePercio.
Patients have come here from all over the United States and, in fact, all over the world to get evaluated and treated for this treatment. We hope that this can be continued, that we demonstrate in a clinical trial that it's safe and effective, and that ultimately it will be approved by the FDA so it's available to everyone in the world.
For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
It doesn't take a lot to make a big difference.
That's why we've teamed up with Jerry Kelly Heating and Cooling to bring you 100 acts of kindness.
For the next 6 months, the Chris and Amy Show is challenging you to spread kindness in simple, meaningful ways. No big budget needed.
Write a thank you note, help a neighbor, surprise someone with a smile. It all counts.
Let's prove that kindness is contagious. Share your acts with us by using hashtag 100KindActs.
Because a little kindness goes a long way.
Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
At 6:50, a check on the roads from Roger Brand, who's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
No, so far so good out there, Scott. This traffic reports a service to Siding Express, mainly just slowdowns, and that's fine by me. If you're headed up northbound 55, you'll find it slow from about the Union Road overpass up to Loughborough, northbound 270, north of the Sappington Road overpass through Gravois, a little bogged down, but after that, it's looking better around Manchester, and both ways around Ladue right now are not bad. A little volume popping up southbound 61 at Wentzville Parkway, but again, once you get down onto 64 or 70, doing pretty well. 70 is a little busy right at Highway K, but really, again, not too much to be concerned about there. Just a little backup northbound 67 at Double C. On the Illinois side, things are starting to pick up a little bit as well. I'm starting to see a slowdown on westbound 270 from 157 to 255 again. Westbound 270 to southbound 255, the alternate route for the 5570 westbound closure at 159. And once you get downtown, westbound 64, a little bit of a backup. Route 3 headed on to the Poplar. Transform your home with the beauty and durability of James Hardie Siding. At Siding Express, we specialize in James Hardie Siding installation. Visit sidingexpress.com today to schedule a free consultation. That's sidingexpress.com. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The weather today is going to be hot and steamy, so we'll have sunshine mixing with clouds. It's going to be very hot, very humid. So 95 degrees, which is our high, is going to feel at times more like 105. But then it does cool down for the rest of the week. Tomorrow's high 86, again with sun and humidity and a thunderstorm that could pop up. But right now, we've got 74 degrees with sunshine in downtown St. Louis.
The news continues at 6:52. The Coast Guard is cycling out the commanding officer of its centralized service desk in St. Louis. In a release, the Coast Guard says it's temporarily relieving Lieutenant Commander George Zawarton due to a, quote, loss of confidence, close quote. No other information was given as to the reason why he was replaced. Lieutenant Kevin Garcia has assumed command. According to LinkedIn, Garcia has been in St. Louis for 1 year. The Coast Guard's centralized service desk provides 24/7 information technology and electronic support for about 400 Coast Guard systems.
More members of Missouri's Task Force 1 have been sent to Texas to help with ongoing flood recovery efforts. We get more details from Megan Lynch.
Missouri Task Force 1 is among 28 FEMA urban search and rescue teams in the country. A total of 89 responders from Missouri are currently deployed in Texas.
On this deployment, we took an emphasis on water rescue capability. So
obviously boats and dry suits, and then also human remains detection canine. So we took extra canines with us, but we take the full complement of equipment regardless of what the mission may be. Just because you never know what you're going to get into.
Gail Blumenkamp with the Boone County Fire Protection District tells KMOX's Total Information AM the task force is working a 10-mile stretch of the Guadalupe River, hoping to recover any bodies. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Narcan is used to reverse opioid drug overdoses, and St. Louis County will have 44 different locations with vending machines that carry the drug.
The latest Narcan vending machine dispenser is inside the Pagedale Cinema on Page Avenue.
We'd ask for people just to take one to carry themselves. Anyone who receives a prescription of opioids should also be prescribed Narcan from their doctor, especially if they're on long-term opioids for pain management. But this is for someone to carry, especially if you have a family member who has a substance abuse problem.
County Executive Dr. Sam Page.
We're trying to destigmatize opioid use, get people the help that they need to get them better, to get them into a treatment program, and to be ready if you see an overdose death to bring someone back.
You can administer Narcan more than once until it revives someone overdosing. Additionally, if you administer Narcan to someone who is not overdosing, you still cannot hurt them. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
Jim Onder of Onder Law has purchased the CIBC Place 10-story office building in Brentwood. That's the glass building that's right up at 64 and 170. It'll house Onder's personal injury law firm and is 95% occupied. The purchase price, $34.3 million, according to the Business Journal. Onder has quite the real estate portfolio with properties in St. Louis City, Rock Hill, Webster Groves, and Brentwood.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
Today's KMOX birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated. RennerDoorSTL.com.
I'm not a baby. I'm a man. I am an anchor man.
Will Ferrell is 58 today. Corey Feldman is 54. And pop singer Luke Hemmings is 29.
Local celebrity birthdays. If you have a birthday or anniversary you would like us to announce, email it to totalam@kmox.com. That's totalam@kmox.com. Happy birthday wishes to Linda Gass, Diane War, Eileen Hobble-Well. Also, Don Marsh is celebrating, Steve Winchell from the Spring family, Kathleen Muller from David, Andrew, and Rick. And happy birthday wishes going out to Rebecca Medina.
This is the best birthday ever.
It's Tom Ackerman for the best garage company out there, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Not only are they hiring great career opportunities right now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com, but I see on their website, again, overheaddoorsstlouis.com, they are back with their $5,000 sweepstakes. They call it the 5K Curb Appeal Giveaway. Enter to win $5,000 towards a brand new garage door. Curb Appeal Giveaway. The winner of $5,000 towards a new garage door at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Winner will be chosen at random from all entries, and the contest ends July 31st. No purchase necessary. You can't win if you don't enter. Go to overheaddoorsstlouis.com. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis has been in business since 1926. They're the genuine, the original, the ones with the red ribbon. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends Mark and Neil Gelman from the Gelman team of eXp Realty. Selling your home, every situation is unique. Find the best options that are right for you from the real estate team who offer more options. 314-336-1991. Go to the Gelman team.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind: to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, They joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-885-9700. 800-885-9700. That's 800-885-9700.
It is 6:58. Roger Brand watching the commute on this Wednesday from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, just some slow traffic out there for drivers heading into work right now, Scott. If you're on northbound Highway 55, that slow going is in stretches from Bayless up through the Loughborough, Holly Hills area. Northbound 270 through Tesson Ferry now is the slow spot north of there. Just a little busy from 64 up to Ladue. If you're on eastbound 64, there's some slower traffic coming through Wing Haven, eastbound Highway 70. A little volume between Lake St. Louis and Bryan Road, but again, it's not bad. Southbound 61 still clear. And downtown westbound 64, just a short backup, Route 3 onto the Poplar. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Wednesday. It is July 16th. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
I'm Maria Kina. Why the USDA believes Missouri's food supply will become safer.
I'm Scott Jagow. House Speaker Mike Johnson says the Justice Department should release all of its information on Jeffrey Epstein.
Senator Eric Schmidt introducing a bill to double the punishment for assaulting an officer.
Senator Josh Hawley is back with new legislation to boost rural hospitals and halt Medicaid cuts.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. It's going to become very hot and humid today with sunshine and some clouds and a stray afternoon thunderstorm, high 95.
It is 7 o'clock at the Tone in Mid-America. Total Information AM on
Mid-America's most trusted voice for news. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is the CBS News World News Roundup, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. We begin in Washington, where Attorney General Pam Bondi is under growing pressure from members of both parties to release the Jeffrey Epstein files. Correspondent Scott McFarland is at the Justice Department.
Trump supporters have accused Bondi of withholding Epstein records after the Department of Justice released an unsigned memo last week saying the convicted sex offender didn't have a client list and they wouldn't disclose any more information. House Speaker Mike Johnson, a strong Trump ally, is calling for more transparency.
It's a very delicate subject, but we should put everything out there and let the people decide it.
Bondi tells CBS News she will not bow out amid calls for her resignation.
I'm going to be here for as long as the president wants me here, and I believe he's made that crystal clear. It's 4 years. Well, 3.5 now, right? We've got 6 months in.
An arrest in the murders of American Idol music supervisor Robin Kay and her husband Thomas DeLuca inside their home in Los Angeles. Correspondent Carter Evans is there.
Surveillance video shows the suspect, 22-year-old Raymond Budarian, entered the home that day through an unlocked door after scaling the exterior fence. They say he was there approximately half an hour before the couple returned. That's when police say a violent struggle ensued, and Kay and DeLuca were shot multiple times.
Police are still working on a motive. 6 weeks after they were deployed, the Pentagon says half of the 4,000 National Guard soldiers sent into Los Angeles to monitor protests over ICE raids will be released from duty. Retired Army Colonel Peter Mansour tells KNX Radio.
They're not really doing much. The president was trying to make a point that he has the ability to federalize the National Guard and use it as he sees fit. And that point's been made, so it's time to move on.
Vice President Vance stepped in on Capitol Hill last night to break a tie on a bill that would rescind $9 billion in funding for foreign aid and public broadcasting.
On this vote, the yeas are 50 and the nays are 50. The Senate being equally divided, the Vice President votes in the affirmative and the motion is agreed to.
Senate Republicans hoping to approve the package as early as today. If they do, it'll go back to the House, which would need to give final approval by Friday for those cuts to be enacted. A politician in the Caribbean's been sacked for trying to whitewash one of the island's challenges. CBS's Elaine Cobb from the Foreign Desk.
There was outrage in Cuba when the labor minister claimed there were no beggars in the country, only people pretending to be. The presidency, which was also critical of the remarks, has announced that Marta Elena Feto Cabrera has resigned.
Dow futures up 65. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast.
from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
At 7:04, we have mostly sunny skies and 74 degrees downtown at the Gateway Arch. It is July 16th, and the news is sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station.
That's Scott Jagow. I'm Debbie Monterrey. Violence against ICE officers is rising, according to U.S. Senator Eric Schmitt, who is looking to raise the penalty.
U.S. Senator Eric Schmitt's bill significantly raises the maximum punishment for assaulting an ICE officer.
They're enforcing the laws of the United States. Nothing more, nothing less. And they have families, and I think they need to be protected, which is why I filed a bill to double the penalties if you assault an ICE officer. You could spend up to 40 years in jail.
Asked whether steeper penalties deter crimes compared to the likelihood of being caught, Schmitt responded, quote, "We're going to find out." Sean Malone, KMOX News.
U.S. Senator Josh Hawley has introduced a new bill aimed at investing in rural hospitals, also preventing future cuts to Medicaid hospital funding. It's called the Protect Medicaid and Rural Hospitals Act. It builds on provisions he secured in the recently enacted mega bill, but that bill also scheduled future reductions in states' provider tax authority, and Hawley's new legislation seeks to repeal that.
With 8 months to go before Illinois voters decide, the race to fill the seat of retiring Senator Dick Durbin is heating up. We get more from WBBM's Mallory Vorbroker.
The race to replace retiring U.S. Senator Dick Durbin has taken to the airwaves, with Illinois Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy releasing the first TV ad for the U.S. Senate primary race, where he declared himself an underdog ready to fight the Trump administration.
Because underdogs, we just fight harder.
His opponents, Illinois Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, was endorsed by Illinois House Speaker Chris Welch this week, and Congresswoman Robin Kelly is putting up strong fundraising numbers with more than $2 million in her war chest. That's according to federal election records. Durbin, who's retiring after 5 terms, has yet to endorse a candidate.
There's a flood of opposition to a proposed massive data center in St. Charles off 370 near Truman Boulevard. Megan Wilkinson is concerned about paving over floodplain and the amount of chemically mixed water needed to cool multiple warehouses.
Well, that water from those cooling towers has to be discharged. So they're telling you that these are overflow fill ponds. This is where they're going to discharge that water. That water then sits in those ponds, and then it discharges through the ground. It's in the well field. St. Charles already has issues with water supply and well contamination. Why is the city going to take the risk of introducing a business that endangers the water supply in any other way?
There were 2 items related to this on the latest Planning and Zoning Commission agenda. One passed, the other didn't. That means if the city council wants the project to move forward, it'll take a supermajority vote. The actual tenant for the data center is not made public. It appears the developer is local construction from Clayco.
A consultant to airlines and airports says there's no one really to blame for Sunday morning's mess at the St. Louis airport.
Mike Boyd of Boyd Group International says sometimes a crush of people show up, like in this case when thousands of conventioneers showed up first thing in the morning and lined up, even when many didn't have flights till later.
You know, this kind of a thing where you get literally a tsunami of people all leaving at 2 p.m. from at the end of a conference and heading to an airport. The airport really can't really prepare for that per se. And you can't build an airport large enough to handle those people at one time simply because you don't get it very often.
Right now, Lambert, it's chopped up into small sections almost for each airline, each with its own small security line. The new airport design would have one central security checkpoint, all leading to the same place. He says that new setup would be much more efficient. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
National Hot Dog Day is being celebrated today at Steve's Hot Dogs with a Customer Appreciation Day. All 3 locations, Chesterfield, Del Mar, and South Grand, will take $2 off every dog. Tonight, starting at 5:30 at South Grand, there will be live music from the St. Boogie Brass Band and a late-night comedy show in Ritz Park next door.
Coming up after traffic and weather.
This is KMOX Health Editor Fred Bottomer. Nicotine pouches you pop in your mouth are becoming very popular, but addiction experts say they're not as safe as you think.
It's 7:08. Traffic and weather are next.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, if you can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence, Banner is an elite preferred James Hardy contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today. 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
Hospital Sisters Health System isn't just in your community. We're your neighbors, your friends, your support system. From your first visit, you'll experience expert care backed by the strength of our entire health network. At HSHS, we put your health first, with medical expertise and kindness that makes you feel valued at every step. HSHS, connected to our community, committed to your health. Visit hshs.org/caring to learn more.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind: to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my 2 sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-949-1441. That's 800-949-1441. 800-949-1441.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 7:11. Let's see how Wednesday morning's commute looks right now with Roger Brand, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, just a little slow here and there, Scott. It's not terrible. We're getting a little busier in some spots, but overall, a pretty good run for you. If you're on eastbound 64 this morning, it's a little busy at Prospect. It's slow approaching Wing Haven to a point, not quite midway into K. It picks up the pace before you get to that stretch, and then it's good to go all the way in through the inner belt. If you're taking North 270 into work this morning, Manchester up to Ladou's heavy, South 270, a little busy south of Ladue, just in the right lanes. Doesn't seem that bad. Eastbound 364, seeing some slow traffic now. Approaching like the Kisker area. Earlier it was a good move, so just maybe a slow moving, maybe it's road work or they're cleaning up debris or something along that stretch of 364 because that slowdown has shifted in the last 10 minutes. Northbound 67, a little busy at Double C. Northbound 55, you just got some slow traffic Bales to River to Pear. Westbound 64, just crowded Route 3 onto the Poplar. Next update at 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, patchy fog early, otherwise sunshine mixing with clouds today. Very hot and humid with a thunderstorm in some areas from midday on. Our high 95 with AccuWeather real field temperature between 100 and 105. Partly cloudy, warm and humid tonight. A thunderstorm in the area, low 75. Tomorrow more clouds and sun and not as hot but still humid with a thunderstorm in the afternoon, the high 86. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is mostly sunny right now and 79 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
I'm Joe Pott. I'll tell you how Brendan Donovan did last night at the All-Star game. That's coming up in sports.
It is 7:12. Charter Communications says people damaging their lines is basically domestic terrorism.
The telecommunications company believes some of the damage to its lines may be from people who think they're scavenging for copper.
but not all of it.
The reality of our situation is we don't have copper lines. We have fiber optics. And even knowing that, in many situations, repetitive type actions like this, it's not stopping, and we want it to stop.
Aaron Detweiler, Area Vice President for Spectrum's Missouri Management Area, says there's been a huge increase in attacks where aerial lines have been cut and even pulled down. He adds that creates a dangerous situation for emergency communication and for institutions like hospitals, banks, and federal agencies. Missouri is one of more than 24 states to now make this a felony crime. Detweiler is asking the public to call authorities if they see someone doing damage to lines. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Zyn nicotine patches and pouches and products like them have exploded in popularity. Addiction experts have concerns about their use.
Dr. Pete Vernig is a licensed psychologist and vice president of mental health services at Recovery Centers of America.
There's a lot of people who are kind of looking at them for the potential that they could serve a purpose in helping people to quit smoking.
But
there are health risks that go along with these pouches. So anything that contains nicotine, whether or not it contains tobacco, puts people at risk for hypertension. When young people use them, nicotine can be damaging to the developing brain. Also specific to these products, which is not as much the case with nicotine replacement therapy, there is a risk to oral health. So they can lead to gum loss. They can cause precancerous oral lesions. So there definitely are risks associated with it.
But Vernig does admit they're less harmful than smoking cigarettes or chewing tobacco.
So basically, we know that these are not harm-free. They're not safe, quote unquote, but they are less harmful or less likely to cause the serious health consequences that come with smoking cigarettes or chewing tobacco.
Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Who's Hot? Sponsored by St. Louis Composting. Order online for delivery or pick up premium soil, compost, and mulch at any of our 9 locations. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories. 95th MLB All-Star Game last night looked like it might be a walk for the NL. Turned out to be anything but. Arizona's Ketel Marte got things started with a 2-run double in the first. That gave the NL a 2-0 lead. They rolled from there for a while. Bottom of the 6th inning, a Fernando Tatis walk brought up the Cardinals' Brendan Donovan. He lined a single into center field, his second hit of the day. Donovan was the only player on either side to enjoy a multi-hit game, and he made it 2 on for Pete Alonso.
Inside and a ball on Pete Alonso. Lined out his first time. Always had the home runs, but he's hitting 280 this year, and he's showing off that home run power here. It is gone. Pete Alonso goes the other way. A 3-run shot to break it open.
Right field is where you get the most carry here in this stadium, and not a big 3-run homer. 247 in his career, and his first in the All-Star game. 5-0 for the National League.
The National League would go up 6-0 in that inning, and then the AL staged a comeback. They score 4 times in the 7th inning. Brent Rooker homers in the inning, and then they score twice in the 9th inning. That forces a 6-6 tie. Brendan Donovan has the chance to play hero, hitting in the 9th with 2 outs, but he tapped the ball out in front of the plate for the 3rd out, and it forces the first ever All-Star swing-off. Each team chose 3 hitters for a mini home run derby, and the NL trailed 3-1 when Kyle Schwarber of the Phillies came up.
In the air to center field, headed towards the wall, and to dead center. That's huge for the National League. They're within 1.
So here's swing number 2 from Schwarber.
Oh, Schwarber's in the All-Star game. Oh, tied at 3.
That's MVP material if he gets the 3rd one right here.
Well, here is that 3rd swing.
AL rallied in the game. NL has rallied in the swing. With the hat trick. Look out, Chop House. National League takes the lead 4-3.
Unbelievable.
Joe Davis, John Smoltz, the MLB on Fox. National League manager Dave Roberts of the Dodgers had managed in this was his 4th All-Star game managing. He had never picked up a win until last night.
It was a lot of fun. And the cool thing is that we got to see the players
we're all into it too, which is fun.
National League wins it on the swing off. Next sports update comes up at 7:45. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Your home for St. Louis Cardinals baseball, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Tom Ackerman here. One of the many things I appreciate about McKelvey Homes is how much they give back to the community. Each quarter, they give back $1,898 to charity, to a nonprofit, and they do that every time a home is sold, every quarter. 1898. 1898 is the year McKelvey Homes was founded. They are Missouri's oldest home builder. They also celebrate that anniversary every year by giving you an opportunity to save $18,980. $18,980 on all of their market homes. Check them out in many of the communities here in St. Louis County, St. Charles County. McKelvey Homes is building all over the place, and they're building beautiful homes. These designer homes, people love what McKelvey Homes is doing. And Jim Brennan, the president, is leading the way. McKelvey Homes is online at mckelveyhomes.com. Move up to McKelvey.
Chris Ronchi, Amy Mark Scores. The Chris and Amy Show.
I would just like to say you guys are awesome. I've just been turned on to this. This has been on 104.1 at the FM dial, and I think you guys make me laugh, and you're informative. I just love you guys' show. You guys are amazing.
The Chris and Amy Show. Weekdays at 9 on 104.1 FM KMOX and the free Odyssey app. Now the news at 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is going on 7:20. Coming up, we've got an update on the Epstein files and more on immigration raids in Los Angeles. And have you seen Chimp Crazy yet? The story of the famous Tonkum chimp from Festus? Well, we've got an update on that story for you as well. Right now, we should update your ride in if you're just getting in your vehicle or maybe you're stuck somewhere. Roger Brand will have some answers. He's in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, you shouldn't be stuck in traffic, at least, Debbie, for the most part. We're not bad. There's slowdowns out there. The only place I'm seeing a backup right now, eastbound 30, pretty solid from Mauer up the hill to 270, northbound 67, a short backup at Double C at the lights there. Highways, though, basically just slow. Northbound 55, the right lane's Butler Hill up to 270. For now, it's thinned out between Bayless and River to Pear. North 270 slow through Tesson Ferry, north of Big Bend through Doherty Ferry, and approaching 64 to Ladue. South 270 south of Olive to Ladue, that's slower. Eastbound 70 approaching Highway Z is a little busy, but after that, it looks like a good run across the Blanchette. 364, again, moving operation. I'm seeing slow traffic now from, I guess it's east of Cox Hill, that Harvester area, to over to about Upper Bottom Road. Eastbound 64 from 364 through Winghaven, that's busy. But after that, it looks good through the Inner Belt and downtown. Just a little slow again, westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thanks, Roger. Your weather forecast, pretty hot today. Temperatures around 95, but it'll feel more like triple digits, according to AccuWeather. Overnight, 75, maybe a thunderstorm in spots. Tomorrow, we could have storms, but it'll definitely be cooler. 86 for your high. About the same on Friday, maybe a shower, maybe a storm. And then we're around 90 on Saturday with a thunderstorm in the area. It is 75 in St. Peter's, 77 in Florissant, and 77 downtown. And the weather is sponsored by Rapid Radios, instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage, no subscription ever. Business owners can keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
The news continues at 7:22. The House GOP, for the second time Tuesday, voted down a Democratic procedural maneuver aimed at forcing the Justice Department to release the Jeffrey Epstein documents. Julie Walker reports on President Trump's support for his attorney general over not releasing those files.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is Unbelievable.
President Trump says it's up to his Attorney General, Pam Bondi, whether to release any more records related to the sex trafficking investigation of Jeffrey Epstein.
The Attorney General's handled that very well. She's really done a very good job.
Some of his supporters disagree and are calling for Bondi's ouster.
She said that Jeffrey Epstein's client list is, quote, sitting on my desk right now. Where is that client list? What is Attorney General Pam Bondi hiding? She needs to release the Epstein files as soon as possible. I talked about the Epstein files under the Biden administration. I'm talking about it under the Trump administration. This is a case of the powerful protecting the powerful. We need to have those files released.
Trump was asked by a reporter whether she told him if his name appears in any of the Epstein records.
No, she's given us just a very quick briefing.
Bondi reportedly clashed with FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino over the issue.
But I think the Attorney General, the credibility is very important. And you want credible evidence for something like that. And I think the Attorney General has handled it very well. And it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release, yeah.
Trump also suggesting without evidence, Democrats made up the documents.
And I would say that, these files were made up by Comey. They were made up by Obama. They were made up by the Biden. We went through years of that with the Russia hoax, with all of the different things that we had to go through. We've gone through years of it. But she's handled it very well.
Epstein, who was a one-time friend of Trump's before a falling out, killed himself in jail in New York awaiting trial. I'm Julie Walker.
On the other side of the U.S. Capitol, former National Security Advisor Mike Waltz was grilled by Senate lawmakers. This during a confirmation hearing for his next role in the Trump administration. It led to explosive testimony regarding the use of the Signal chat app.
Mike Waltz was ousted from his position as National Security Advisor earlier this year and was instead nominated to serve as U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations. A focus of Waltz's confirmation hearing for that position this week was the Signalgate scandal. Trump administration officials, including Waltz, discussed sensitive details of a U.S. military strike in a chat on the app Signal earlier this year. Senators pressed Waltz, who defended his use of that app.
The use of Signal was not only authorized, it's still authorized and highly recommended.
Would you recommend the use of Signal for classified information to be shared between folks who have access to?
Again, we followed the recommendation, almost the demand to use end-to-end encryption, but there was no classified information shared.
Senator Chris Coons.
You were sharing details about an upcoming airstrike and the time of launch and the potential targets. I mean, this was demonstrably sensitive information.
Waltz was asked about the humanitarian crisis in Gaza as war continues in the Middle East.
If Hamas would lay down their arms, if they would surrender, if they would stop sacrificing their own people, the fighting would stop today. And I am confident in working with Israel in that regard.
He also addressed global attitudes toward Israel during the hearing.
We must also challenge pervasive anti-Semitism. From 2015 to 2023, the General Assembly passed 154 resolutions against Israel versus 71 against all other nations combined.
Waltz is the administration's second nominee for the UN role. Congresswoman Elise Stefanik's nomination was pulled over concerns about a slim GOP margin in the House. I'm Clayton Neville.
The Pentagon announcing that it will withdraw 2,000 National Guard troops from Los Angeles, leaving behind 2,000 more, plus another 700 active duty Marines. So the Trump administration deploying them amid protests against their immigration raids.
Mayor Karen Bass said the drawdown is a sign that legally the city of Los Angeles is making progress against what she and others call unconstitutional actions by ICE and DHS.
2,000 troops are being withdrawn. We don't exactly know where they're going. I certainly hope that these young people will not be used as props in some other city.
Hints from Washington that ICE and DHS agents now have the authority to arrest demonstrators who directly attack them could be a sign that a further scale back of troops is possible. Pete Demetrio for CBS News, Los Angeles.
The time is 7:27, and the time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
This is Tom Ackerman for Gamma Tree Experts, a full-service tree care firm specializing in the preservation of your valuable trees. We have a lot of trees in our yard, and Tim Gamma and Tom Gamma and their outstanding staff make sure that they are well taken care of. In fact, they have now put me in the habit of taking a look at the health of our trees, plants, and shrubs. And if I have any questions, I can reach out to them at 314-725-6159, 314-725-6159, or just go to gammatree.com to learn more. Gamma Tree Experts, they will come right over and give us a full inspection, make sure that we know which trees are in trouble, which trees are doing just great. And if we end up having any storm damage, they will clean that up as well. They are Gamma Tree Experts, here since 1954. gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
The Dave Glover Show.
If you sit down with me and we talk about who I am, what I am, my values, political, voting record, you're never going to walk away and go, that guy's a bleeding heart progressive. I'm just not stupid. And I just don't take bait. And I just don't do things because you tell me to, or that I'm afraid that if I don't, fall in line or get on the bandwagon, people aren't going to like me. Been there, done that for years.
The Dave Glover Show, now on FM 104.1 FM KMOX.
At 7:30, we have mostly sunny skies and 77 degrees downtown at the Gateway Arch. Good morning. I'm Scott Jagow.
I'm Debbie Monterrey. This is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, as you're heading out the door and hitting the highways this morning, it's getting a little busier, getting close to the peak time of the rush hour, so just expect delays. We do have delays on northbound 270. In fact, it looks like we have a little trouble on northbound 270 right past 44, headed up through Marshall Road, and it looks like it's opening up once you get past that point. It's also busy, by the way, Tesson Ferry through Greville. I can't see what's blocking, and then still slow north of there to Manchester, so quite a bit of volume. South 270, same thing, busy, not jam, but it's slow from Page all the way down through Ladue, eastbound 64, east of Prospect to Lake St. Louis Boulevard, east of 364 through Winghaven, east of 94 through Research Park, 364 now. That slow down, the moving operation is at 141, so you're slow at the Veterans Bridge to that point. Eastbound Highway 70, there's some slow traffic, 94 into Earth City. Westbound around Earth City is a little busy. Northbound at 55, the right lane slow Butler Hill, and just barely a slowdown Weber to River to Perrin. More volume on the Illinois side, westbound 64 from about 3rd Street heavy to the Poplar. Next update at 7:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is going to be steamy today, 95 degrees. It's going to feel as hot as 105. So just keep that in mind when you're out and about. Possibility of a thunderstorm popping up in the afternoon or this evening. And then tomorrow, again, more chances of thunderstorms popping up, but not as hot. A high tomorrow of 86 degrees. Right now, it's 76 downtown.
It is 7:31. As you heard here on KMOX, more members of Missouri's Task Force 1 have been sent to Texas to help with ongoing flood recovery efforts. Megan Lynch has more details of their mission.
Missouri Task Force 1 is among 28 FEMA urban search and rescue teams in the country. A total of 89 responders from Missouri are currently deployed in Texas.
On this deployment, we took an emphasis on water rescue capabilities. So obviously boats and dry suits and then also human remains detection canines. So we took extra canines with us, but we take the full complement of equipment, regardless of what the mission may be. just because you never know what you're going to get into.
Gail Blumenkamp with the Boone County Fire Protection District tells KMOX's Total Information AM the task force is working a 10-mile stretch of the Guadalupe River, hoping to recover any bodies. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Tonka and I just found each other, and Tonka loved me as much as I loved Tonka.
The Festus woman at the center of the HBO show Chimp Crazy is scheduled to be sentenced today. 55-year-old Tanya Haddix pleaded guilty in St. Louis to perjury and obstruction of justice back in March. The original lawsuit was filed by PETA in 2016 over the way she cared for the chimps, including Tonka, at a facility in Festus. That facility has been shut down. Haddix is facing years in prison and hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines.
Union Station isn't just for fish. Purina Farms was damaged during the May 16th tornado, so the Purina Incredible Dog Team is taking a break from farm life to take up residency at Union Station starting tomorrow. KMOX's Stuart McMillan spoke with Purina's senior dog trainer, Deb Martin.
We have trick dogs, scent work dogs, disc dogs, freestyle disc dogs. We have dock diving dogs, but obviously we're not going to be doing that here.
There's water.
There is water. We might end up with dogs in there. And agility dogs.
The dogs will perform Thursdays through Sundays, the rest of July, all of August, and most of September.
They are extremely amusing.
Oh, I love those.
I love watching
I love
them.
watching the agility and the frisbee and all of that.
It's great. Yeah, my dog was fascinated watching them at Bark in the Park. And I thought, oh, maybe she'll try a trick or two. But no. She's clueless about tricks. She's like, I'm just watching. It's 7:34. We've got a look at traffic and weather coming your way at 7:40.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
It is 7:35, and your Bloomberg Money Report is sponsored by Busey Bank. Here's Kimberly Adams.
Good morning. The latest data from Intercontinental Exchange suggests the nation's housing market is close to stalling out. As of last month, home prices were up just 1.3% from June of last year. It was the smallest year-over-year gain in 2 years, and prices in more than half of the top 100 markets were below their peak. Persistently high mortgage rates are still a drag on the market. Nielsen reports 2 milestones that illustrate the diminishing power of broadcast television. Last month, viewers spent more time with streaming services than with broadcast and cable TV combined. That happened for the first time in May, and the gap widened considerably in June. And for the third straight week, the Fox News Channel had more primetime viewers than any of the main broadcast networks. There's been an update to the Billionaire Scorecard. There's a new number 2. Bloomberg's Billionaire Index shows that Oracle's Larry Ellison has overtaken Mark Zuckerberg, and he's now the second richest person in the world with a net worth of more than $251 billion. Elon Musk still leads the list. His net worth tops $357 billion. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM KMOX.
This is the Our Idea is Ready to Launch vision. This is the Create Great Jobs vision. This is the We Need More Space vision. This is Busey, where your business visions become realizations. Through securing capital for growth and comprehensive strategies that ensure a prosperous future. Because thriving businesses mean thriving people and thriving communities. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868.
Member FDIC.
Hey guys, Glover here for Universal Windows Direct. Right now, you can choose from payments as low as $99 a month or 12 months with no payments and no interest, plus a free in-home window and energy assessment from the leaders in the window business. Been with these guys now for a while, and they have treated me very well and my listeners very well. Many of you from the DGS have reached out to get a quote. As you know, they're always in the middle because they are just a solid company. Call 314-334-2522. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
Were you worried when the stock market was tanking earlier this year? If you're like me, everybody was giving you advice, right, about what to do with your retirement portfolio and your stocks. Buy this, sell that. Jeff Sachs of Sachs Financial says it really does pay to not panic.
Because where we sit today, the market is as high as it's ever been. Most people have more money in their 401k today than they did in January.
If you're still a little nervous, how do you quell that fear about what's happening with your retirement money? Because you're looking forward to retiring well, right? Call Sachs Financial. Jeff Sachs and his team, they are so low pressure. They're so easygoing. They want you to have a good relationship with the people who are handling your retirement accounts because they want to know what you need today, what you want tomorrow, and you need to be able to clearly communicate that and not be afraid to ask all your questions. Sachs Financial simplifies retirement for you. So just give them a call or go online right now at retiresafestl.com. Retiresafestl.com. It's Sachs, S-A-C-H-S, Sachs Financial.
Hi, I'm Andrew Suntrup. For over 30 years, St. Louis families have trusted Suntrup Ford Westport and Suntrup Ford Kirkwood as a proud, family-owned and operated dealership. We offer more than just great deals. We offer peace of mind. At Suntrup Ford, you'll find a huge selection of inventory to choose from, unmatched customer service, and our exclusive lifetime powertrain protection program. Visit in store or online at suntrupford.com. Save more at Suntrup Ford. Visit suntrupford.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res. It's National Carpet Cleaning Month, and because of Zero Res's commitment to the DGS, you're going to get 3 rooms of carpeting clean plus 1 free plus $50 off your air duct services. 314-474-2020, ZeroResSTL.com. Hey guys, Glover here for my friend Mark Cantor at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, so I take this very seriously. Mark is a great attorney. He has a great team. He is from St. Louis. He is local. Call 314-628-9999 or visit CantorInjuryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Baseball's All-Star Week is underway. Cardinals baseball, it returns Friday night when they take on the D-backs.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 7:40. Roger Brand watching the roads for us from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's busy since we're at our peak time of the rush hour, Scott. This traffic report service from McKelvey Homes. If you're on northbound 270, it's bogged down, ramping on from 55 up through Gravois. Jams north of Gravois, midway up to 44. Can't see anything blocking right now, but it remains slow north of 44 to Manchester and Clayton Road up to Ladue. South 270 approaching 364 Page down to Ladue. That's heavy. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, a little busy at Z, a little slow approaching Cave Springs. From east of Zumbel all the way into the Rock Road, there's some volume running on that route right now. Southbound 61, still not bad, just a little busy at Wentzville Parkway into 64 through Prospect. Again, both sides of Wing Haven's heavy, 94 to Research Park, a little slow east of Clarkson and from McKnight through Big Bend. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker to Hanley, that's slower. South 170 kind of busy at the Parkway. Eastbound 30 from West Watson to 270's busy. Northbound Tesson Ferry from Butler Hill up to 270. Looks like it's heavier running through there. Little jam up northbound 67 approaching Double C. 55 from the Union Road overpass up to River to Pears slow. And downtown westbound 64 from Baugh Avenue to the Poplar. A lot of heavy volume. Westbound 270 is also slow at 159. Next update at 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan of McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyhomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
It is 7:41. We need to get you updated on the forecast. Today is going to be probably the hottest day of this 5-day forecast. So get ready for steamy, right, Joe Lundberg?
Indeed, that's the case. I mean, it's already uncomfortable. Temperatures pushing the 80-degree mark at this early hour of the day. And there are a couple of little dots on the radar screen. That means a couple of little blips on the radar, a couple of little showers. I think that's part and parcel of a disturbance that's moving through the area that can touch off a thunderstorm at almost any time, most likely this afternoon and this evening. It's not going to wipe out the heat. It's still going to be with us all day today. Our high 95 at Real topped the century mark. Overnight tonight, a spotty thunderstorm, otherwise warm and sticky with lows in the mid-70s. Now tomorrow, because there'll be more clouds around, that'll keep temperatures in the mid to upper 80s. And with them, there's probably going to be a shower and thunderstorm around in the afternoon. It could be strong and gusty. Clouds will limit sunshine Friday. A little better chance for a shower and thunderstorm, especially in the afternoon, the high 87. The heat starts to build back into the area, though, this weekend. With some sunshine, we get to 90 Saturday. Could be an afternoon thunderstorm. Partly sunny Sunday. Again, watch out for a thunderstorm at highs into the lower 90s. Right now, it's up to 78 in St. Peter's, 79 in Florissant, already 81 in sunny downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
I'm Joe Pott. Does Brad Thompson think the Cardinals have some trade pieces? I'll let you know right after this in sports.
It is 7:43. Today's the last day you can voice your opinion online about sports betting rules in Missouri ahead of it being legalized. The Missouri Gaming Commission will hold a public meeting in Jefferson City tomorrow. Plans to issue the first licenses comes next month, and sports betting is expected to officially be legal in Missouri starting December 1st.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. A key witness in a rape trial shot and killed after refusing a bribe to stay quiet.
The man who was killed, Corey Warren, had reported the sexual assault of a 15-year-old girl to police. The man charged with statutory sodomy and rape as a result was 39-year-old LeVar Harmon. He'd allegedly seen the girl at a bus stop, gave her his phone number, and later took her shopping before engaging in sexual activity. Harmon's sister, 44-year-old LaVonda Harmon of Houston, Texas, allegedly went to Warren's home in Ferguson along with another man and offered Warren money to take back his story. He didn't take the money. 6 weeks later, Warren was killed while at home. LaVonda Harmon is charged with tampering with a witness. The shooter has not been identified. Beth Coughlin, KMOX News.
Missouri will soon create a statewide task force to help protect churches and nonprofits.
Governor Mike Kehoe has signed a bill into law that will form the task force to study and recommend safety and security changes for churches and other nonprofits. The Anti-Defamation League says the new law marks a critical step toward protecting houses of worship, community centers, and nonprofits that increasingly face threats of violence and hate. The members will be responsible for issuing an annual report of its findings and recommendations. According to the Anti-Defamation League, Missouri experienced a 250% increase in annual anti-Semitic incidents from 2021 to 2023. Elisa Nelson, Missouri Net.
The ins and outs are brought to you by Innsbrook, where every day is the weekend. Brendan Donovan went 2 for 3 with a run scored last night, and the National League picked up the win in the 95th MLB All-Star Game. Donovan was the only player to finish with a multi-hit game, but the game wasn't decided until after 9 innings. It was a 6-6 tie after 9. It was decided by the first ever swing-off, a mini home run derby of sorts. Each manager chose 3 players to hit in the swing-off, with Kyle Schwarber hitting 3 home runs in 3 swings for the National League after the AL had taken a 3-1 lead. This was the game-winning swing from Kyle Schwarber on Fox.
AL rallied in the game. NL has rallied in the swing.
With the hat trick! Look out, Chop House! National League takes the lead 4-3. Unbelievable.
The win is only the second since 2012 for the National League, who won 3 straight from 2010 to 2012, and then again in 2023. The regular season resumes Friday for the Cardinals, and they open with 6 on the road, Arizona and then Colorado, before finishing the month with 7 at home, the Padres and the Marlins. Cards are 6.5 out of the National League Central Division, trailing both the Cubs and the Brewers. The Cards are 1.5 games out of that final wild card spot in the National League. Yesterday, Brad Thompson, Cards analyst on FanDuel Sports, joined the Gray Bar Sports Open line and talked about what the Cards might be thinking at the deadline.
You can't go out there and these guys are in the thick of things. They're playing their butts off. And then you go ahead and say, yeah, but we're rebuilding. What you did doesn't matter. Well, that is a blow, right? And that is something that hangs with guys. And then you have that bad taste in your mouth about it, even though your said goal was the future. That doesn't mean you go out there and you acquire the best ace out there, or you go out and get the biggest right-handed bat on the market, which we all know the Cardinals can use some more right-handed thumb. Doesn't mean that. Doesn't mean you're sacrificing your future for it, but maybe you can find different ways to tweak the roster. But this is going to be the most interesting trade deadline in a long time, and I promise you I didn't think that coming in this year that was going to be the case.
Thompson added that the Cardinals do have some pieces other teams might be interested in.
But the Cardinals have a few pieces that I'm sure teams are going to look at. You mentioned some bullpen guys. Obviously, Helsley is a guy that teams will look at. Phil Maton is a guy that teams would absolutely look at. Think even what Steven Matz has been able to do on an expiring contract, somebody who's served a pivotal role there, eating up some innings in the middle and being a bridge to the back end of the bullpen. It's a tough decision. I don't have a lean one way or the other right now, Nate, of which direction they're going to go.
You can hear the full conversation with Brad Thompson on KMOX.com. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's Tom Ackerman. Can't say enough about Innsbruck, where every day is the weekend. It's our family getaway, Innsbruck-resort.com. I can tell you from personal experience that we have rented at Innsbruck. At one point, we rented a home in the new Sonnenhaus. The Sonnenhaus houses are like the newest style of living, combining the modern exterior of a treehouse with cozy interior elements of a cottage. And anyway, after spending a weekend in one of those, we thought, could we live here permanently? I mean, it's something to think about. One convenient and comfortable residence that can transition from a vacation home to a permanent residence. Home values have increased 105% over the last 5 years at Innsbruck. So it is a great return on investment. Innsbruck-resort.com, 100 lakes, 7,500 acres, the perfect getaway right here in the St. Louis area. Innsbruck-resort.com.
Hi, my name is Christina Straight, the owner of Straight Realty, and I'm asking you, what do you want in a realtor? Do you want experience? I've been a broker for over 21 years. Do you want to know how much I've sold? I've sold over $500 million, yes, $1 billion with a B, in sales. Do you want value? I now list properties for only 2%. So if you're looking for all these things and want the best, then call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Experience the magic of the Fabulous Foxes 2025-2026 Broadway season, which includes the return of St. Louis favorite, The Phantom of the Opera, and the spellbinding spectacular Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. And right now, KMOX has your chance to win a pair of season tickets for the 2025-2026 season. Prize package includes a pair of tickets for all 8 shows in the subscription package. Register now online at KMOX.com/contests for your chance to win.
Now the news at 1 the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 10 minutes before 8 o'clock. Roger Brand watching the commute on this Wednesday from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we actually have a little slow traffic in North County right now, Scott. Westbound 270 from New Florissant to the Inner Belt. It's a little busy past McDonald Boulevard, so even a little crowded in North County. You don't see that very often. Eastbound Highway 70, a slow down east of Cave Springs, primarily, though, 94 to the Rockridge where it's the busiest. Eastbound 364, Veterans Bridge toward 141 and east of the Amiat overpass to 270. That's kind of slow. Southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway, a little busy on the 64 through Prospect. Both sides of Winghaven, 94 to Research Park. Looks like you may have a little problem east of Clarkson. There's a little bit of a jam up there as you come up the hill from Chesterfield Parkway West, and then midway in from Lindbergh to McKnight, it's bogged down to Big Bend. South 170, busy south of Olivet, a couple of spots. Westbound 64, Science Center through Big Bend is slow. South 270, Dorset down to Ladue is heavy. North 270, north of 55 to Ladue, slow the whole way through. Bowles through Miraz on 44 is off the pace. Eastbound 30, West Watson at 270 is heavy. Northbound 55, Bayless up to River to Pear, slow, and westbound 64 from the 70 splits of the Poplar is pretty crowded. Westbound 270, west of the Three Eyes, on through 159 is slow as that alternate route 270 over to 255 south. Next update at 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is going to be a steamy, steamy day today, and the hottest day of this 5-day forecast with a high of 95. With the sunshine and humidity, though, it'll feel as hot as 105 today. We could see a thunderstorm pop up in the afternoon or this evening. Tomorrow, we could see some stronger storms, but not as hot, a high of 86 for tomorrow. Currently, it's sunny and 77 in downtown St. Louis.
The news continues at 7:52. Some stories we're following this morning. President Trump says he plans to place tariffs on over 10% on smaller nations, including Africa and the Caribbean. A new report says the Supreme Court is allowing Trump to lay off nearly 1,400 Education Department employees. And in L.A., the Pentagon is ending the deployment of 2,000 National Guard troops. It's part of a larger force sent to protect federal buildings and immigration agents.
Also in Los Angeles, an American Idol music supervisor and her husband have been found dead in their home with a suspect arrested. A Colorado dentist accused of killing his wife by poisoning her protein shakes is beginning his murder trial this week. Meanwhile, heavy rains and flash flooding have swept across parts of the Northeast, stranding vehicles, closing subway lines, one New Jersey home collapsing after a fire.
NVIDIA, inflation, and more in today's business report from CNBC's Jessica Ettinger.
Wall Street opens this morning after a mixed day for stocks yesterday. Inflation keeps going up. It climbed again last month. Investors also a bit worried about earnings at some of the big banks. They reported results. We get more this morning. The Dow fell 400 points yesterday, but the Nasdaq opens today at a fresh record high, helped by shares of NVIDIA. They were up 4%.
I think what we're dealing with is a market that's up 26% over 65 trading days. And we're heading into a seasonal stretch that is not the best part of the calendar. Could we chop or consolidate here? I think that's totally reasonable.
Strategas Research's Chris Verone on CNBC. Inflation going in the wrong direction. Consumers are paying higher prices, and they did again in June. Inflation came in hot at 2.7%, its highest since February, and its biggest month-over-month gain since January.
If you're looking for signs that the tariffs are leading to higher consumer prices, you did see that. The tariffs are having an impact. Look at some of the areas where we're starting to see higher prices being paid for the consumer. They're places where we import a lot of the production. Men's shirts and sweaters saw a 4.3% increase over the month. Women's dresses saw an almost 4% increase. Appliances, toys. There's definitely evidence that the tariffs are having an impact in raising consumer prices.
CNBC's Sarah Eisen. The Fed's target inflation rate is 2%. And hotter inflation may give the Fed another reason to keep interest rates right where they are. They meet again at the end of the month. NVIDIA's CEO Jensen Huang met with President Trump, and now NVIDIA's getting set to export AI chips to China. Pennsylvania Republican Senator Dave McCormick says it's a fine line to walk.
We have to do two things at the same time. We have to maintain a leadership position in the most advanced chips. So it's a balancing act. The first generation most advanced chips have to be in the hands of the United States, but we're also going to have to recognize the world's moving. And if we can have U.S.-based companies, U.S.-friendly companies that are in the leadership role, they're going to be able to need to sell some of the lesser, most advanced to other countries.
Pennsylvania Republican Senator Dave McCormick on CNBC. Shark Tank Season 17 announced its guest sharks. Variety says they include Reddit founder Alexis Ohanian, Magnolia founders Chip and Joanna Gaines, and Poppy Soda founder Allison Ellsworth. On today's watch list, we get more earnings. Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, Johnson & Johnson, Morgan Stanley, PNC Financial, Prologis, United Airlines, and Alcoa. We also get the latest on inflation at the wholesale level with the PPI, Producer Price Index, for June. And today is National Hot Dog Day. Look for deals and discounts at different restaurants.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind: to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, They joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-885-9700. 800-885-9700. That's 800-885-9700.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
VA education benefits are available to those who qualify. Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Show, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
It is time to check in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Oh, Debbie, we're slow on northbound 270 approaching Gravois, goes all the way up to Ladue. South 270 Page to Ladue, that's bogged down as well. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, 94 into the Rock Road is slow. The slowdown we had westbound 270 through the Interbelts, then now 364, still busy from the Veterans Bridge toward 141 and west of Bennington to 270. Eastbound 64, a little slow. South 61 crossing over on the 64 through Prospect, through the Winghaven area, approaching 94 up to the Research Park area past Clarkson, and east of Lindbergh, it jams through the Interbelt. Northbound 55, a little busy at River to Bear. Westbound 64 from 25th Street, pockets across the Poplar. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Good morning. It is Wednesday, July 16th. I'm Scott Jagow. A growing number of Americans are reluctant to sell their homes. Coming up, Bankrate will tell us why.
I'm Debbie Monterrey. EV owners don't have to pay gas taxes, but now they face another fee. We get more from KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz.
Maria Kina will tell us about a new food safety lab in Missouri.
Senator Eric Schmidt introducing a bill to double the punishment for assaulting an officer.
And Senator Josh Hawley is back with a new bill to boost rural hospitals and halt Medicaid cuts.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Sunshine and some clouds. Very hot and humid today with a thunderstorm in the area this afternoon. The high 95.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. A powerful Republican voice joins a growing GOP chorus urging the Justice Department to release the Jeffrey Epstein files. House Speaker Mike Johnson on the Benny Johnson Show podcast.
The White House and the White House team are privy to facts that I don't know. I mean, this isn't my lane. I haven't been involved in that. But I agree with the sentiment that we need to put it out there.
Attorney General Pam Bondi insists a much talked about client list containing the names of rich and powerful men doesn't exist. President Trump is leaving open the possibility of releasing some of the files.
Credible information, let them give it. Anything that's credible, I would say let them have it.
The Senate stayed up late to advance a bill that would claw back more than $9 billion in federal funding for foreign aid, PBS, and NPR. CBS's Torian Small.
One of the tipping points in this vote was Senator Mike Rounds of South Dakota. He previously said he had some concerns about how this could impact public broadcasting when it comes to tribal radio stations after a conversation with the OMB director, Russell Vought. He said that he was confident that there would be amendments to this that would justify his vote and would see those untouched.
Vice President Vance cast the tie-breaking vote last night. Russia launched another massive barrage on Ukraine overnight. Correspondent Cami McCormick reports.
Russia's latest aerial assault involved 400 drones. Firefighters rushed to burning buildings. It comes ahead of President Trump's September 2nd deadline for Russian President Putin to stop the attacks or face severe sanctions. He's also promised weapons to Ukraine, but Europe would pay for them. The EU policy chief wants Washington to do even more, saying if we pay for these weapons, it's our support.
This will be the first full day of testimony at the trial of a Colorado dentist, Jim Craig, who's accused of poisoning his wife. CBS's Natalie Morales.
The defense acknowledged the defendant had had multiple affairs over the course of his 23-year marriage, but prosecutors claim he had recently started an affair with a woman he met in Las Vegas. That's when they say he began poisoning his wife's morning protein shakes.
She may be a movie star.
Holy cricket, you're Harry Potter.
But Emma Watson, who played Hermione Granger in the Potter movies, has been banned from driving in the UK for 6 months. She got a speeding ticket that pushed her point violations over the 3-year 12-point max in England. Watson did not attend today's court hearing. Dow futures up 167. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. We offer auto, home, and commercial auto insurance, plus a variety of business insurance options. Visit progressive.com today.
At 8:03, we have partly sunny skies, 78 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Wednesday, July 16th. I'm Megan Lynch. U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt introducing a bill to double the punishment for assaulting an officer.
Senator Schmidt was asked about concerns that steeper penalties don't deter crime.
Well, we're going to find out because you've seen a 700% increase on the assaults of ICE officers.
Schmidt says under his bill, the maximum punishment for assaulting an ICE officer is 40 years in prison. He also called out Democrats for not just denouncing crime against ICE officers, but for not saying they should be allowed to do their jobs. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
According to the Department of Homeland Security, assaults on ICE officers is up 830% from January to June of this year since massive raids have begun. However, they've not released the raw numbers. One analysis suggests 79 officers have been assaulted in some way, about one every other day. U.S. Senator Josh Hawley has introduced new legislation aimed at investing in rural hospitals and preventing future cuts to Medicaid hospital funding. His Protect Medicaid and Rural Hospitals Act builds on provisions he secured in the recently enacted Big Beautiful Bill, which created a rural hospital fund for the first time. However, that bill also scheduled future reductions in states' provider tax authority, which Hawley's new legislation seeks to repeal. With 8 months to go before Illinois voters decide, the race to fill the seat of retiring U.S. Senator Dick Durbin is heating up. WBBM's Mallory Vorbroker reports.
The race to replace retiring U.S. Senator Dick Durbin has taken to the airwaves, with Illinois Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy releasing the first TV ad for the U.S. Senate primary race, where he declared himself an underdog ready to fight the Trump administration.
Because underdogs, we just fight harder.
His opponents, Illinois Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, was endorsed by Illinois House Speaker Chris Welch this week, and Congresswoman Robin Kelly is putting up strong fundraising numbers with more than $2 million in her war chest. That's according to federal election records. Durbin, who's retiring after 5 terms, has yet to endorse a candidate.
The Coast Guard cycling out the commanding officer of its centralized service desk in St. Louis. In a release, the Coast Guard says it's temporarily relieving Lieutenant Commander George Wharton due to a loss of confidence. No other information was given as to the reason why he was replaced. Lieutenant Kevin Garcia has assumed command. According to his LinkedIn account, Garcia has been in St. Louis for a year. The Coast Guard's centralized service desk provides 24/7 information technology and electronic support for about 400 Coast Guard systems. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe and USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins cut the ribbon on a new state-of-the-art food safety and inspection service lab in Normandy.
Governor Kehoe says the USDA facility on Natural Bridge is only one of 3 in the country.
What the USDA does for food safety and to keep millions and millions of Americans safe in the food they consume every day, this team should be very proud of. You are making a difference in people's lives and the quality of their life and the food that they eat at the dining room table.
This facility used to be the old Goodfellow ammunition plant on the campus there, and Kehoe says with this expansion, it's like having a brand new job, especially for the many workers who have been there for 40 plus years. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
What has neighbors heated about plans for a massive new data center in the St. Charles floodplain? The cocktail of water and chemicals needed to cool all those computers.
Our groundwater is a limited resource, and you want to bring one more thing into the area that can contaminate it.
If this would flash flood and get into the wellhead protection area, I mean, are you guys serious about protecting that? Our groundwater, our drinking water? For all residents of St. Charles?
City of St. Charles Planning and Zoning Commissioners split on 2 items related to the data center project, meaning the full city council will need a supermajority to approve it. The actual operator of the data center is unknown. The developer appears to be Clayco. What does it mean that all the fracas at Lambert Airport on Sunday was record-breaking?
The line spilled out beyond the sidewalks onto the street. TSA spokesman Carter Langston tells KMOX.
TSA did have a record-breaking day on Sunday with nearly 26,000 passengers.
Industry consultant Mike Boyd of Boyd Group International.
You know, the first thing to think of, that's great, more passengers. The other thing to think of is, good Lord, now we have some ticked-off people, but you can't do anything about it. It's the way of life.
Passengers said they missed flights. Boyd says you can't pick out the airport, the airlines, or the TSA to blame for the one-time surge. Thousands of conventioneers showed up at the same time, even if some didn't have flights till later in the day.
You can't point fingers at anybody and say, what are you going to do next time? There probably won't be.
Boyd does say the new terminal design should be better. Right now, you've got to pick the small security lane that corresponds with your airline. In the new terminal, all security lines will lead to one concourse for everybody, so you can pick the most efficient. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Starting tomorrow, some talented dogs are taking up residency at Union Station.
This is Stuart McMillan, and I'd like you to meet Motown.
He likes to bark when he does leg weaves. Gets very excited.
Why do you think he's barking at that?
He gets super excited.
He's like, yeah.
He loves them.
Motown is a 5-year-old mini Australian Shepherd and can do spins for treats, catch a frisbee on the fly, and stay on top of a rolling barrel as long as his frisbee is within sight, and even jump rope. Motown, just one of the 30 or so dogs Purina Dog Team is bringing from the farm to perform because it was damaged by the May 16th tornado. See them Thursday through Sundays until September. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, if you can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today. 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM, the news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
8:10, let's see what you're dealing with out there on the roads. Roger Brand joins us from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, mostly just slow going, Megan. If you're on northbound 55, it's just a little busy. Loftboro, Virginia. It doesn't look that bad there. Northbound 270 north of Gravois, bogged down pretty much all the way up past 64. South 270, a couple of spots between Page and Ladue where it's busy. Not a solid slowdown the whole way through, so that's a little better. Eastbound 70, east of 94 to the Rock Road, slow. Eastbound 364 from about the Ammy out overpass before you get to Bennington. Again, slow to 270. Eastbound 64, a little busy at Prospect through Winghaven. 94 to Research Park through the Chesterfield Parkways. It is backed up east of Lindbergh up through to about Hanley. There's a minor crash reported westbound 64 before Ballast. Lindbergh out into that area is just kind of slow right now. Westbound 64 is more of a backup in the city, though. Hampton headed out through Bellevue, slow to Big Bend. South 170 bogged down at the Parkway. Westbound 64 is still a couple of spots where it's off the pace from the 70 split to the Poplar, and westbound 270 a little slow at 159 and 157 over to 255. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sunshine mixing with clouds today, becoming very hot and humid. Watch out for a thunderstorm during the midday or afternoon hours. Our high reaching 95 with AccuWeather real field temperatures headed past 100. Partly cloudy, warm and sticky tonight. There can be a thunderstorm in the area, low 75. For tomorrow, more clouds and sun and not as hot, but still humid. With the thunderstorm in the afternoon that can produce gusty winds and brief downpours, the high 86. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Currently, we have sunny skies, 79 degrees in Florissant, 77 in St. Peters, 78 degrees downtown at the Arch. You're listening to Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch.
There is so much research now showing how Gen Z is one of the loneliest, but also online connected community.
You may have someone from Gen Z in your life, or maybe you are from that generation. Weirong Lee is CEO of Raw Culture and is Gen Z herself. Her work focuses on better communication, and she's hoping to bridge that disconnect between electronic and in-person communication for her peers in Gen Z and older generations.
Text-based communication is still the main way that we communicate. However, we do see a rise in audiovisuals. So this is, for example, using TikTok as a way to not only communicate by sending TikToks to each other, but as well as a way where we search new information that we can use as a search engine, kind of like Google. But we also send voice notes. And even though it might be kind of frustrating on the other end, it's become very common. And we kind of see it like a podcast when we're just, on the go and we just listen to our voice notes of our friends. And it's become part of our daily life. So I guess in short, like we're definitely still text-based, but we're becoming more open to more, rich content, which includes audio and video as a part of our habits.
What about the one-on-one, in-person communication for Gen Z?
I think personally, we all across generations want more of that, but especially Gen Z. But because of the circumstance of us growing up literally chronically online, it's unfortunately not the norm for us to have in-person interactions as the main form of communication. And so if you do look at how we currently are communicating, it's definitely not in person as number one. It's definitely that we're doing it through online. But at the same time, I know for sure that this is a huge issue for not only the ability to express ourselves, but also our mental health. And I can, share some examples of research, but, the World Health Organization and also Surgeon General, who basically made loneliness as the biggest kind of topic to, work on for the US, basically stated that loneliness is equivalent to smoking 2 packs of cigarettes per day. And it's even worse than diabetes. And so I think there's a lot of need for more in-person interactions for Gen Z, but it's just that we don't really know how to do it. And we really need the support and guidance of generations before us to help us make sense of what it used to be like, because we just didn't have that privilege to grow up and not have devices in our hands, or not have devices as the first thing that we see face to face instead of another person's face. And, especially as we all know, the pandemic, has made all of us become more isolated and made us kind of express ourselves and also communicate as a norm online. And therefore, it's kind of a combination of what happened, culturally and also like historically, that has caused kind of this way that we communicate.
It almost sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, that even though there is maybe some rich communication in terms of volume going on digitally with Gen Z, maybe the quality of that connection is not great.
I think you're right on. And I wish that more people would be cognizant of what exactly is happening to them, because even though we're so connected online, this doesn't mean in reality how we actually feel, like personally, if we're actually connected with other people. And if we actually have one best friend where we can say, I know that they're there for me, and I know they actually are celebrating everything I'm celebrating and actually happy for me. And so I think that there is definitely a quality issue. And I also have to say that we have to give some slack, just to how we were raised again in our generation, because it's very different.
I think of the fact that probably a lot of these individuals grew up with having a device in the car as they traveled, to watch, or, the movie on the screen up in the car. And so maybe we have sent mixed messages to these younger generations about the value of being connected on these devices.
Yeah, I think honestly, we're all going through it at the same time. Like, even generations before us or our parents, like, they're also the first time being exposed to so much kind of media and so much information all thrown at them. And so everyone is learning about this for the first time. And we're still trying to figure out what is a great balance that we can strike between having in-person, healthy interactions and relationships, and also balancing how the tech world is moving. One thing is for sure is that human interaction and relationships, they can never be replaced. And this is shown through, actually, maybe you know this, actually, it's a longest study on what makes the most successful and fulfilling lives. And this was an 85-year longitudinal study by Harvard, and it showed and found that the people who had the most successful, fulfilling life had the deepest connection in terms of the relationships they had. And so that's why having this conversation, I'm so thankful for. And I wish that it could become a sexy topic for all generations, because it's not only Gen Z that needs human-to-human connection and communication.
Do you think that other generations mischaracterize Gen Z sometimes as lacking a need or desire for that in-person connection, and so we just don't make that effort?
It's a great question. So actually, research shows that despite Gen Z being so online chronically, we actually have a strong desire for in-person connection. For instance, a study showed that 82% of Gen Z, they want to be more comfortable expressing themselves in person. And 89% agree that relationships built in in-person events are really important for not only their personal, but also for their professional career.
On the flip side of that, are there some powerful ways that Gen Z does communicate that the rest of us could learn from?
Absolutely. So there's something I mentioned earlier, which is we are jumping towards more of an increase in the richness of communication. So this means that it's more audio, it's more visual. And examples of this is that we're, huge on memes, we're huge on GIFs, we're huge on adding emojis after, every sentence. And this is a way of us saying that we're using now online media and information as a way where we can build and express ourselves, kind of create a brand as well online. And this is actually a really positive thing, because we found another way to emotionally connect online, even though on the flip side, it's very different. And so I think one thing is that we kind of get confused. We feel like the online interactions, they are basically the equivalent to how you would feel when you have someone next to you. And so there's kind of like a dangerous line of understanding, okay, we can use online media to have more of an identity for ourselves and, create and find our niche and community and feel connected. At the same time, like, that's only one method, and we should add also the actual person to person as well to that, whole kind of method of communication.
That is Wei Rong Lee, CEO of Raw Culture. And I asked her what the best way is to connect with someone from another generation. And she says that it really starts with just putting aside judgment and asking someone what they're thinking and feeling and why they're feeling that way. Still ahead this hour, a growing number of Americans are reluctant to sell their homes. Bankrate will tell us why. And EV owners don't have to pay gas taxes, but now they face another fee. KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz will have details at the bottom of the hour. It's 8:20. Let's see how things are rolling on the roads. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're still heavy in spots, Megan. A lot of slow going. This traffic reports the service of the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. But one place we have a jam is that crash I mentioned, westbound 64 between Spady and Ballas. They do have a lane blocked now, and there's a jam back through Lindbergh. Eastbound 64 is sort of backed up from Lindbergh through Clayton Warson as well, and it's slow at the Interbelt. If you're out west on 64, we've still got that slow traffic approaching Winghaven about midway to K, 94 to Research Park, Chesterfield Parkway west to Timberlake as well. Westbound 64 in the city, west of the Science Center to Big Bend, slow. South 170 bogs down at the Parkway, South 270 Page down to Ladue, busy. Eastbound 364 is still slow west of Bennington. We had a minor crash before 270. They quickly cleared it, thankfully. North 270, Gravois to Ladue is busy. Southbound Tesson Ferry, you've got a jam coming down through 270 past Kennerly. If you're on northbound 55, barely a slowdown. Weber River to Pear downtown, westbound 64, just a little busy at the Poplar. Are you considering life insurance? Penn Mutual's accelerated client experience makes applying for life insurance fast and easy. Ask your independent advisor or go to pennmutual.com/STL. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We may see a few clouds today. It'll be hot and humid again, and a thunderstorm is possible in some areas from midday on. Expect a high of 95, but it may feel like it's closer to 105 today. Partly cloudy tonight, warm and humid, a thunderstorm in spots, an overnight low of 75. Currently sunshine, 78 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It's Tom Ackerman's Summer Living, Outdoor Living, Chesterfield Fence and Deck. The sign you have the very best. Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Fence and deck in their name. Beautiful fences, great materials, great staff, good people. The showroom in Chesterfield Valley will show you that variety of fence or deck that you want to put in, but they have more than that. Patios, pergolas, sunrooms, retaining walls, and more from Chesterfield Fence and Deck. How about an outdoor kitchen? How about an outdoor fireplace? Maybe a great place to just kick back and unwind during the summer and have a cup of coffee and a newspaper read, which is what I do often on the weekends. Chesterfield Fence and Deck can do that for you. ChesterfieldFence.com. When you mention me, Tom Ackerman, you'll get 48 months interest-free financing from your next outdoor project. With Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
Speeding while driving gives you less time to react. Another car could turn out in front of you. A pedestrian could be walking their dog. Follow the speed limit to keep them safe. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
Welcome back to Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. A new survey finds that a growing number of Americans are reluctant to sell their homes. Let's find out why. I'm joined now by Jeff Ostrowski. He is housing market analyst for Bankrate. Jeff, thanks for joining me.
Well, yeah, thanks for having me. And you're right. Americans just aren't very interested in doing anything when it comes to the housing market right now. So home sales are at some of their lowest levels in the past 20 years. And that's caused by a combination of record high home prices and also mortgage rates that are more than twice as high as they were during the pandemic.
Let's talk about those mortgage rates. How many more homeowners are saying that that's a factor, maybe compared to even last year?
Yeah, and I was a little surprised by these results, but so at Bankrate, we're like everyone who's following the housing market, we're very interested in what's known as the mortgage lock-in effect. And that's the idea that Americans have really anchored on those 3% mortgage rates back in the quote-unquote good old days of the pandemic. So mortgage rates plunged to record lows. People were buying houses. If they weren't buying, they were refinancing to lock in a much lower rate. And homeowners who have a 3% rate are very reluctant to buy something, even if they might need more space or less space. They really don't want to give up their 3% rate and when rates are closer to 7%. So we found that most Americans just don't want to do anything. They might be motivated into action if rates were to fall pretty significantly. Some say below 6%, more say below 5%. But the reality is that for rates to plunge that far, something really bad would have to happen in the economy.
That leads me to my next question. Is it time for homeowners and people who want to enter the market to just reset their expectations of what mortgage rates are going to be in this country long term?
I think that's what's going to have to happen eventually. That resetting of expectations, as you aptly put it. Our results were a little surprising. There was some thought in the housing market that Americans were growing accustomed to higher mortgage rates, that life goes on, that things like death or divorce or the birth of a child or a job change would spur people to move, even though they don't love where current mortgage rates are. And that really hasn't happened yet. So it's pretty clear that Americans are in love with those old mortgage rates, and they're not really ready to reset their expectations.
What has all of this done to the refinance market?
What refinance market? I think the question would be, there's very little refinancing. And of course, back during 2020 and 2021, everyone was refinancing. And why not if you could lock in a 3% long-term mortgage rate? So that was a real benefit for American homeowners. They were able to lower their cost of money. They were able to lower their monthly principal and interest payment. And they were able to stretch in to lock in that super low rate for a long period of time. So the downside now with rates skyrocketing is that there's no refinancing activity, and homeowners who want to tap home equity for things like home renovations or repairs are doing so not through refinancing, but taking out a home equity loan or a home equity line of credit. And so that lets you keep the underlying mortgage with the sweet rate in place, and then you can borrow a smaller amount at a higher rate of maybe 9% or so.
That is Jeff Ostrowski, housing market analyst for Bankrate. Jeff, thanks so much.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Just ahead, how the big, beautiful bill will impact car owners.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Summer in St. Louis means one thing: Cardinals baseball. It's an STL tradition. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, the boom of the fireworks. It's the soundtrack to summer. So grab your cap and glove and take your spot in the stands. Because in St. Louis, baseball is more than a melody. It's our favorite song. Hi, Barbie. It's time to sparkle and shine at Barbie Game Day on Wednesday, July 30th at Busch Stadium. Grab a special theme ticket and take home an exclusive Barbie Cardinals jersey, where glam meets game day. Dress in pink, bring your squad, and celebrate the brand that proves you can be anything. It's all about confidence, possibility, and playing your way. Snag your tickets now at cardinals.com/theme.
8:30, time to head back to the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. Roger Brand, how do the roads look?
Oh, we still got our trouble on westbound 64, Megan. This traffic report's a service of Terrace Senior Living of Eureka. That's that crash I've been talking about, westbound 64 between Spady and Ballas. Fire crews showed up now, and they do have the right lane closed. Westbound 64 is backed up in spots from Clayton Skinker all the way out to that crash again before you get to Ballas. Eastbound 64 is still a little slow through Winghaven, 94 to Research Park, bogged down at Clarkson, and then east of Lindbergh through 170 to Big Bend is still slow. South 170 bogs down at Delmar. South 270 Page to Ladou's busy. North 270 Gravois up to Manchester and Clayton Road to Ladue. That's still slow. Eastbound 70 east of the Blanchette to the Rock Road. There's some busy traffic there. Northbound 55, the right lanes are a little slow approaching Butler Hill. Downtown, we've cleared out at the Poplar. Westbound 270, that's still busy from 157 to 255. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Check out the Terrace in Eureka for affordable senior living with 24-hour nursing supervision, delicious meals, medication management, and activities. The Terrace is affordable and will work with your Medicaid plan. Go to rspseniorliving.com and look for the Terrace Private Assisted Living.
Checking that forecast for today, sunny skies, but we'll see a few clouds because we're going to have some thunderstorms pop up in areas from midday on. Otherwise, hot and humid today, a high of 95. It could feel like it's 105 right now. Sunny, 78 in downtown St. Louis. 8:32, time to check in with KMOX business analyst, SLU Chaffetz School of Business professor Jerome Katz. And as you drive into work, we are looking this morning, Jerry, at how the big, beautiful bill can impact everyone, depending on what kind of car you drive.
The obvious point in the big, beautiful bill, the one that was no doubt fueling Elon Musk's frustration, was the removal of the federal credit for electric vehicle buyers, which would make the Teslas and its competitors more expensive by thousands of dollars, $7,500 to be exact. That sunset will be later this year, so EVs will start taking hits by October. When a similar program in Germany ended, EV sales dropped 15%, so that could happen here. But that wasn't all that happened in the BBB. Remember that when we gas up, part of the cost of gas is a tax that goes to the U.S. Highway Trust Fund, where we pay to make and keep up our highways. Of course, EV owners don't buy gas, so they haven't been paying that tax. The new bill levies a $250 annual fee on EV owners to get money out of everyone who drives on our highways. That said, the typical American pays about $100 in gasoline highway taxes, so the EV fee is a bit on the high side. Another downer for EVs is that the big, beautiful bill ended a 30% tax credit for companies that were installing EV charging stations, so that's going to further slow the rollout of those. There is a silver lining in the bill, which is that people buying a new or used car or motorcycle using a loan will get to deduct up to $10,000 of interest per year from the taxes that they're paying. So if you're thinking about buying an EV, this might be the best time of the year or even the next couple of years.
What about other impacts to transportation from the big, beautiful bill?
Motor Trend, the car magazine, gave us a rundown of other changes the big, beautiful bill will make to our transportation expenditures. The biggest is that the corporate average fuel economy program will fine automakers if their average fuel economy is above the federally mandated average of about 49 miles per gallon. But the big, beautiful bill gets rid of that fine. So that's one cost savings for new cars, trucks, and motorcycles. The rules still exist, but until a different Congress raises the fines, you'll be getting a slightly better deal. Having a gas guzzler probably hasn't looked this good in years. By the way, if you're a commuter and you made use of the $175 a month maximum credit for things like van pool costs or transit passes or parking passes, what you need to know is that now you'll only be able to apply one of those $175 credits per month. Up until now, you could get $175 for the van pool, the transit pass, and the parking pass. Other forms of electrification, like credits for home solar panels to cut down on your recharging costs, will also be no more. So funding the big, beautiful bill looks like it's going to be by zillions of little cuts. Double check your purchasing plans the next time you can.
That is Jerome Katz with the St. Louis University Chaffetz School of Business. He joins us every week at this time here on KMOX. We have Your Money Report from Bloomberg next.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
When you haven't found love, it can feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Your Money Report now, sponsored by Eamon Gattner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Kimberly Adams.
Good morning. Inflation is a concern for investors, and stocks closed mixed yesterday. The Dow fell 1% and the S&P 500 closed 0.4% lower. The Nasdaq managed a 0.2% gain. The June Consumer Price Index suggested some companies had started passing tariff-related costs along to their customers. The nation's airports borrowed more than $10 billion from municipal bond investors in the first half of the year, the most for any first since at least 1990. With a boom in air travel, many airports are restarting projects that were suspended during the pandemic. Everything from materials to construction labor is more expensive now, and that increases the need for bonds. Fewer Americans are carrying credit card debt, but the amount of long-term debt is increasing, and nearly a quarter of the credit card debtors told Bankrate they don't think they will ever be able to afford to pay off their cards. And we'll get a look at wholesale inflation today. That report will be out before the markets open this morning. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Selling your car online sounds easy. Snap a few pics, list a price, then what? Wait weeks? Haggle with strangers? At Suntrop Ford, we actually make it easy to sell your car. Visit Suntrop Ford Kirkwood or Westport, and our expert appraisers will give you a fast, fair offer on the spot. Or skip the trip and get an instant quote at suntropford.com. No guesswork, no games, just the best price. Visit suntropford.com today. Get more at Suntrop Ford.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. If you need to sell your home to buy a new one, it's never been more important to have an experienced negotiator that you can trust. You need my friends Mark and Neil Gelman on your side. 314-336-1991. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
Sunny skies, 79 degrees at 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. U.S. Senator Josh Hawley has introduced new legislation aimed at investing in rural hospitals and preventing future cuts to Medicaid hospital funding. A new bill filed by U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt would double the penalty for assaulting an ICE agent. And former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan is supposed to report to prison in the fall. His attorney's asking if he can remain free while they appeal his corruption conviction. Coming up, we'll have our weekly talk with KMOX legal analyst Brad Young. First, though, we need to check the roads for you again with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Oh, we got crashes popping up in different areas, Megan. This traffic report's a service of Anderson Hospital. I'm looking at one right now in the left lane, westbound 270 at 170. Westbound 270, a solid jam at New Florissant. And because of that one, eastbound 70 still a little slower, City into 270. Eastbound 64 Still some slow stuff coming out of the valley to Clarkson, and then east of Lindbergh, it's bogged down all the way to Big Bend. South 170 from Delmar down to 64 is heavy. Westbound 64, slow. Clayton Skinker to Hanley, and then from McKnight all the way out through Spady. It looks like that crash is back to it just being on the right shoulder at Spady, but it is jammed west of McKnight most of the way to that point. Southbound 270 north of Olive to Ladou's busy. North 270, 44 up through Manchester, and then 64 to Ladue busy. Another crash, this one down south, northbound 55, right at the Mattis Road overpass. The right lane's blocked. Traffic backs up at Butler Hill. I'm Roger Brand of the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Serving the Metro East region with excellence, Anderson Hospital is proud to be named one of Newsweek's World's Best Hospitals for 2025. Experience world-class care close to home. AndersonHospital.org.
It's 8:42. This is Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch, and it is time for our weekly visit with KMOX legal analyst Brad Young. He's a partner at Harris, Dow, Fisher & Young. Good morning, Brad.
Good morning, Megan.
Let's start out with the landlord issue. Immigration authorities are demanding that some landlords turn over leases and rental applications, and that could give away some information about the people, like their addresses, identification cards. Do landlords have to provide that information?
Boy, that's a great and timely question, Megan. First, let's start from the landlord perspective. Under federal law, landlords are not even allowed to ask about a person or a tenant's immigration status, because that specifically violates federal law. They can't ask about that under the Fair Housing Act. So number one, landlords typically wouldn't have that information. But more importantly, if you look at the subpoenas that the Immigration and Customs Immigration Service, or Custom Enforcement rather, agency is using, they're using what's called administrative subpoenas. Now, those look like subpoenas. The old saying, if it looks like a duck, if it walks like a duck, it's a duck. But these subpoenas aren't actually signed by judges. So in that instance, they're not technically enforceable. So there's two sides to the issue. Landlords are not supposed to ask about immigration status. And secondly, the subpoenas used by ICE are not usually legally enforceable. So no, the answer is landlords should not be providing any information to ICE unless they are actually served with a judicially executed subpoena.
Well, and I would think there would be other laws that they could potentially violate by complying.
Oh, and that's absolutely true. I mean, there's a host of laws that would be overlapping and intersecting over this area. And even though, listen, ICE has a tough job and they're enforcing laws in this country, and I know there's a lot of issues pro and con on that, but if the ICE serves a subpoena that's not signed by an actual judge, that's simply not enforceable.
Let's look further into this immigration issue, because the U.S. Appeals Court has temporarily upheld protected status for Afghans in this country. What's at stake here in this?
Well, this protected status was granted after the United States started pulling out of Afghanistan, because there were a lot of Afghans who helped the United States and they faced retribution. Also, there's an issue with regard to women. Under Taliban rule in Afghanistan, women certainly are treated as second-class citizens at best and property at worst. And so they've had that protected status. Now, the Trump administration has been moving to strip that protected status. Lawsuits have been filed. There's been a stay issued against the Trump administration from enforcing that, but that stay really only lasts until midnight tonight and is simply there to allow the Trump administration to respond legally with briefs on the issue. So this issue is far from over, and ultimately it will be up to a judge moving forward about whether that stay is reinstated or whether simply the lawsuit goes forward, but the Trump administration is allowed to deport Afghans who are not here legally.
So there could be a lot.
There could be, Megan. And what happens next is the Trump administration files briefs today. Then the judge will issue a timeline for any additional briefing that may need to be done. And then they'll be scheduling oral arguments in front of the judge. Now, this is really at the district court level, or actually it's at the appellate court level right now. So depending on how the appeals court decides, there could easily be an appeal for an emergency hearing in front of the U.S. Supreme Court. And that's something that's really changed recently, Megan. We're seeing the U.S. Supreme Court much more active on their emergency hearings docket now than they certainly were in years past. And that's a change that we're seeing, I think, because of not only the gravity of a lot of this litigation, but also the speed upon which we expect the courts to act today as opposed to years past.
That is KMOX legal analyst Brad Young with Harris, Dow, Fisher & Young. Thank you so much, Brad. We'll talk to you next week.
Great, Megan. Looking forward to it.
Still ahead on Total Information AM, hundreds of National Guard troops are being pulled out of Los Angeles, and Missouri is getting a new food safety lab, so stay with us.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res. Celebrate National Carpet Cleaning Month with Zero Res and purchase 3 rooms of carpet cleaned. Get 1 free room plus $50 off your air duct services. You can book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the savings. So they were just out at my house about a month ago, and they've been out half a dozen times over the years. But I'm always impressed. They are punctual. They are professional. They are compassionate. They are courteous. They work their tails off, and they just flat out get your carpets, your upholstery, your air ducts as clean as the day they brought them in. It's St. Louis. It's the dog days of summer. Those carpets are going to be getting gamey. Maybe you dropped some toasted ravioli in there, some barbecue, whatever it is you put into them, we can get that back out. 314-474-2020 or ZeroResSTL.com. Spell it forward, spell it backwards. It's always the same, Zero Res.
Fairwinds River's Edge is more than a place to live, it's a place to belong. Come see why we have been voted Best Independent Senior Living Community for 4 years in a row by U.S. News & World Report. We think you'll like it here, and the experts agree. Come see us for yourself. Call to schedule a tour with lunch or to learn more about our upcoming seminar on August 5th, How to Afford Senior Living in This Economy. Find us online at fairwindsriversedge.com.
It doesn't take a lot to make a big difference.
That's why we've teamed up with Jerry Kelly Heating and Cooling to bring you 100 acts of kindness.
For the next 6 months, the Chris and Amy Show is challenging you to spread kindness in simple, meaningful ways. No big budget needed.
Write a thank you note, help a neighbor, surprise someone with a smile. It all counts.
Let's prove that kindness is contagious. Share your acts with us by using hashtag 100KindActs.
Because a little kindness goes a long way.
Thanks for listening to Total Information AM this morning. I'm Megan Lynch. Governor Mike Kehoe cuts the ribbon on a new state-of-the-art food safety and inspection service lab in Normandy. The lab was once housed on the campus of the Goodfellow ammunition plant. We get more now from KMOX's Maria Kina.
USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins said Missouri's Agriculture Director Chris Chin joined the governor. Chin says Rollins found one-time funding of $14.5 million.
The funding is going to allow us to open up more state-inspected facilities. We're going to bring on 4 new employees. That was our roadblock before. We didn't have enough team members to help support these businesses coming online. So we have 6 businesses that are waiting for us to get those new employees up and going so they can open their doors to state inspection.
Governor Kehoe says Missouri saw the first large-scale processor in Warren County.
They're up and running. They'll be at full scale, I think, by September. Those are the kind of examples if we as a state want to open up processing, we need to be able to have a partnership with USDA and with the great Department of Agriculture to make sure we have the inspectors to open up, whether it's a large scale processor like AFG or whether it's a small scale processor that's important to the community and to the family farms in that area.
Kehoe says he believes Missouri will have the capacity to make sure food is safe. Now, Secretary Brooke Rollins says last week the USDA launched the Farm Security is National Security Initiative.
The first time that agriculture has been part of the conversation in terms of keeping our country safe. I had 4 cabinet members, including myself, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, Attorney General Pam Bondi, Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem. We had several of our country's governors there, several from the Hill. And the idea is that at the end of the day, if China owns 300,000 acres of your farmland in your country around strategic military bases, one of many examples, but that was the key one, that in fact, are you really protecting your homeland and what, in fact, we need to do to begin. And again, this is not blue or red, Republican or Democrat. This is what we need to do to secure our homeland. So the foreign adversaries that own farmland in America, agro-terrorism we're seeing, and Attorney General Bondi, I think, arrested a couple people a few weeks ago in Michigan, sneaking in some very scary things that could have really disrupted our food supply. But we got them we fired 70 contractors, USDA contractors, that are from countries of foreign adversaries. It's one thing after another. Agriculture has never been on the CFIUS committee, which is the Treasury Agency committee at the U.S. government. The Secretary of Treasury runs it, but they decide when foreign governments come in what to approve and what not to approve and how transparent to be. But as of last week now, agriculture and the Secretary of Agriculture here forward will be part of those conversations. The question of foreign-owned ag assets and foreign-owned ag land is a serious, serious question. It is not one that we will answer today or next week in a month, but it is one that we as Americans, and with President Trump in the White House, that we are taking a very serious look at. Having said that, understanding that the pork farmers, the hog farmers, the beef cattle ranchers, all of the above, that if we don't have a strong farm system in America, if we're not able to support agriculture, our family farms, all the way up to those who feed the world, that again, we will not have national security. If we can't feed ourselves, we will lose our place in the world as the superpower, not a superpower, but the superpower. So we are looking across. Last week was the first step. You'll be seeing more from the White House, more from the Hill, and more from the governors on that moving forward.
Maria Aquina, KMLX News.
It's 8:53. The Pentagon says it will be withdrawing 2,000 California National Guard soldiers from Los Angeles. They were mobilized June 7th during protests over immigration enforcement. Most of the demonstrations have ended. Odyssey's Larry Perrell got more from military expert and retired U.S. Army Colonel Peter Mansour.
What's your take on this?
Well, it's fire season in California, and those National Guard troops are going to be needed elsewhere in the state. They're really not fully employed down in L.A. The violence was never enough to really use National Guard in the first place. And the ICE raids, the local police and the ICE agents are very capable of handling those on their own. So this is good news, and hopefully the president will release the other 2,000 soon.
Do you think this has anything to do with lawsuits that have been filed against the Trump administration for what Governor Newsom and LA's mayor, too, called unlawful having troops sent here?
No, I don't think so. If you look at the other lawsuits that have been filed against the government, the Trump administration pushes back pretty hard and doesn't really let the lawsuits affect what they do. So I think this was for other reasons rather than the legal pushback.
When you say they should really have been here in the first place, is that something they're now taking to heart, do you believe? Or do you think it really just has to do with practicality in terms of reassigning them?
I think it's practicality. It's expensive to keep them on active duty. Like I said, they're not really doing much. The president was trying to make a point that he has the ability to federalize the National Guard and use it as he sees fit. And that point's been made, so it's time to move on.
Do you think it's a signal that more Guard troops will be deployed around the nation because of the precedent that was set?
Yeah, so this is a real possibility that what happened in LA can happen elsewhere. And, this is where I think the people of the United States need to push back and say, we don't need National Guard troops or active duty military being used for civilian law enforcement purposes. There's a law against it. It's called the Posse Comitatus Act. And local police and state police and ICE are plenty capable of doing what the president needs them to do in terms of handling undocumented immigrants.
Well, that was the basis of the lawsuit. The Comitatus Act was at the heart of it, I think, with the Article 10, I think it was, in the Constitution. So, maybe they're just sort of looking back and saying that's we just maybe shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, like I said, I would love for that to be the case, that the administration has learned a lesson here, but I'm simply not convinced that that's the reason for the withdrawal of these troops.
All right. U.S. Army Colonel Peter Mansour now teaches military history at The Ohio State
And that's Odyssey's Larry Perrell joining us this morning on KMOX. Let's check the forecast for you for this Wednesday. It's going to be hot and humid again. We should see a lot of sunshine today, but that'll mix with clouds, especially over the midday, because we can have some thunderstorms rolling in. Expect a high today around 95, and it's going to feel like it's closer to 105. Partly cloudy, warm, humid overnight. A thunderstorm still possible in spots with a low of 75. And then tomorrow, more clouds and sun, not as hot, but still humid, and a thunderstorm in the afternoon. A high of 86. Currently, sunny skies, 79 degrees downtown at the Arch.
State Farm increases homeowners insurance rates by 27% in Illinois. Plus, did you watch the All-Star game? And Bob Costas joins us to give us his thoughts on sports gambling. It all starts at 9 a.m. on the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
It's Tom Ackerman. I've been talking about this recently. I wanted to wait until it was official, but Hoffman Commercial Real Estate, part of Hoffman family of companies, is thrilled to announce the newest tenant at Pierre Laclede Center in Clayton, the Missouri Athletic Club, an expansion for the MAC, a strategic milestone for the MAC. It reinforces the Pierre Laclede building as a premier destination within the St. Louis business community. The Missouri Athletic Club is moving into Clayton. They remain downtown, and they remain at the MAC West, but the MAC amenity will occupy the 14th and 15th floor